Welcome back, everybody. We are here in the studio for another week, our third installment of Mule Deer March, which Samong and I personally, and hopefully you guys as well, have been having a good time with. We've had some stellar gentlemen in the studio, and that doesn't change today. We've got Brayden Davis with us. He made the drive all the way across the state just to come hang out with you guys and hang out with us and tell some stories and share some knowledge about mule deer. As you can see here, if you're watching on the YouTube, he's got a little bit of field experience to share with us.
Just a little bit.
Before we get going and dive into Brayden, because we are very excited about that, obviously, we're just got to thank the companies that make this podcast possible, that we are so thankful to work with. First of all, we have Reveal, specifically Tacticam. These are the cell cameras that we use in the field all year round because they're cell cams, as I said, so they send photos to your camera. If you pair them with a solar panel, which I pair every one of mine with a solar panel, you can more or less leave them out year round. I have cameras coming on 2.5 years, 3 years out in the field now that I've never had to go touch. I've never had to disturb the area. They're great.
I had a camera that I thought was dead, and then just this morning, I had to send me some photos of some deer.
Maybe the snow melted off it.
Maybe, I don't know. Well, another one we want to thank is Vortex Optics, a longtime partner of ours. If you own anything Vortex, just know that for the rest of your life, or the life of that product, it is covered by a lifetime VIP warranty. So if anything ever goes wrong with it, whether you accidentally or intentionally break it, send it into Vortex Optics, and their customer service team will take care of you. And that's why we love working with Vortex Optics, because we love working with a company where they put the best product that they can out, but at the same time, they treat their people better than their products. And that's the companies that we stand behind. And if you shop at eurooptic.com, you can use code SY10 to save on all Vortex Optics.
We also want to thank Argali Outdoors. This is a outdoor equipment that is tailored for the hunter. They've got kind of a smattering of products from tents to stoves to game bags, knives, trekking poles, sleeping bags. And their philosophy really is to, when they pick something, they do one of it and they do it extremely well. And so if you buy a product from them, you know that product, whether it's a trekking pole or a sleeping bag or whatever, has been just rigorously tested for the hunter in mind. And that's really how we've seen them work for us in the field. Just flawless, high quality gear. A lot of it's very lightweight and does the job.
Last but not least, OnX Hunt. Folks, by this time, most of you guys know what OnX Hunt is, but if you still don't know what it is, this is probably the most pivotal piece of gear in the hunter's pocket today. We use it probably more than any other social media combined for good reason, because you can find little nuances and little spots where probably nobody's really hunted. OnX Hunt shows you public land boundaries, private land boundaries where you can hunt, but just as importantly, where you cannot hunt so that you don't trespass, and so many more features. And it's probably why we have some of these bucks sitting in our studio today. You can use code SY20 on your OnX Hunt subscription. With that said, before we go any further, and before we let Brayden formally introduce himself, you guys know what time it is. We're going to play some Trivia Duel. And then we'll kick the conversation off and go to the fun stuff. But first, as always, Nate and I want to promise you guys that you guys will learn something.
I don't know if we can promise that, but we can try. We usually learn something, though.
We like to think that we're promising you guys something educational on this podcast. So, Brayden, since you're new, we're just going to run through. This is simply a question where Nate and I have prepared for the studio as well as the people watching, and you just try to answer it. There's no penalty to it. There's no penalty to it as of late, but it's just a fun little segment we play.
That's right. You want me to go first?
Go first. No, you go first.
All right. Well, I'm doing my best to stick on the topic of mule deer here, since Samong usually has the oddballs for us, and we're in Mule Deer March. So this is a multiple choice. How many species of plants, and this is in the context of a 1973 study, so maybe this has changed, but probably not too much. How many species of plants have mule deer been identified to eat across the West? Is it A, 10 to 50? These are all ranges. B, 50 to 150. C, 150 to 400. Or D, 400 to 800. And this is different species of plants that are browsed on by mule deer across the West.
That's a pretty broad.
That is a broad one.
Anywhere from 10 to 800. You got 10 to 50, 50 to 150, 150 to 400.
And you're saying
or 400
across the whole West.
All
across
of
the
them.
West. And I don't know the
Okay.
specific
All right.
geographic region
Okay.
of this study. I didn't get into that part of it, but yeah.
Okay. Brayden, do you have a guess?
I'm going to go with B.
B, 50 to
Yeah.
150?
Yep.
I'm going to go C. What'd you say, 150 to 450?
150 to 400?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to say C.
That's a good answer.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's a broad spectrum. It's a good answer.
Good thing this is, there's no penalty to this.
Oh.
They're going to kick us out. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it for this week,
And
folks,
that's
because
it,
they
yep.
got it wrong. The answer is D.
Wow.
And
Wow.
the range of 400 to 800, specifically, they identified 788 different species of plants browsed on by mule deer in this research study.
My goodness.
Which I thought was kind of funny because I went into this specifically looking for how I could kind of improve my identification of mule deer browse in this area of the state. And this just kind of got me more dejected than inspired.
Looks like you really
Fair
got to put down that book and start reading, Nate.
Yeah, that's right.
788 is a lot of plants.
That's
That's
impressive.
a lot of plants, yeah.
And I would assume that a lot of that has to do with more subspecies more than like full-blown different species.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you look at it,
Fair
like
enough.
lichen in and of itself, there's a lot of subspecies of lichen. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way I think that 788 completely different.
And grasses and all those things
Forests
as well.
and
But
whatnot.
Yeah.
however you split it up, it's a lot of different browse.
Well, guess what? I learned something new.
Hey, that makes two of us.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What do
All
you got?
right. Kind of preluding here. We've got a high country killer in front of us here. So I'm going to test his knowledge a little bit and
Oh, boy.
all of our knowledge a little bit. And this is something that if you've spent any time, honestly, I wouldn't just say the high country, but anywhere in the West where you're somewhat elevated, this is probably what you run into the most. So in the Cascade Mountains, it's primarily, when you look at the rock structure of the Cascade Mountains, it's made of a lot of volcanic rock. Okay, that's basically what you look at when you see these giant mountain peaks. What is the most common rock that is found in the Cascade Mountains? This is one of the ones where you either know it or you don't.
Is this
So
multiple
I'll
choice?
give you multiple choice,
Okay.
unless you guys want to just shoot in the dark.
I've got my idea, but
And this is
I
going
don't-
back to like 7th grade science, man. Like, oh, man.
What, you guys want multiple choice?
Yeah.
Or?
Multiple
Yeah.
choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here are your four options. Is it A, rhyolite, basalt, pumice, or andesite?
I'm going to say basalt.
I'm going to go with basalt.
Okay. The most common rock type in the Cascade Mountains is the andesite.
I don't
Is
even know
it
what that
really?
means.
With that said,
That's cool.
all four species or all four types of rocks, they're very common in the Cascades. It's just that andesite is the most common rock that is found in the Cascade Mountains. And these are all volcanic rocks. So
Right.
basically imagine a volcanic erupts and then this is what forms
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Basalt is not a wrong answer, technically. But according to this source that I've got, andesite is
Andesite's the most common.
it's the most common.
And rhyolite is also way up there.
Right.
Yeah,
But
like I said, all four options that I gave you guys, I think these are like the top four most common.
Yeah.
It's just that andesite takes the cake with the
Oh,
most
very
one.
common.
interesting.
So whenever you're up walking the Cascades and you're walking over rocks, you're technically walking over volcanic leftovers.
Yeah.
That's one of the cool parts
Cool.
about the Cascades, man.
Oh, man. I found some cool rocks over the years. Yeah.
Brayden, talking about the Cascades, you live pretty much in the high country. And I'm not going to specify the Cascades because you really live anywhere where there's a high mountain range, whether
That's
it's in
right.
Washington or Idaho or Montana or you name it.
Yeah.
You're kind of the high country. And so when Nate and I were kind of trying to find a group of guys for Mule Deer March, we wanted to diversify the guest and the background that they have so that we don't just talk about the same topic over and
Right.
over. And when I got to your name, I was like, high country was the first thing I put on there.
Yeah.
Because you, like I said, you live there, right? So before we even jump into that, just for the viewers who might not know who you are, let's hear about your background, who you are, where you came from, and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah. My name's Brayden Davis. I'm 21 years old. I live in Anacortes. I'm a born-again believer. And yeah, I just grew up hunting, fishing on the San Juan Islands. My dad always had a boat. We were always out there fishing. If we weren't fishing, then we were out hunting. I can't even remember a time where I wasn't hunting. So
21 years old. You're young, man.
Folks, this is one of the cool things about this month is we get to meet a lot of the guys in person that we have actually just talked to over social media and texting and stuff for years. I thought you were like 30.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
No offense.
No, I get that a lot.
Business owner and mule deer killer.
No, the reason why Brock and Brayden really stood out to me is because they're fairly young. In the span of the guests that we have today, like they're the two youngest.
Yeah.
Brock's what, 22? That's what he
22,
said?
yeah.
22, you're 21.
Yeah.
So you guys are right in the same ballpark. But the reason why you guys really stood out is because you guys are super young, but you guys are pretty accomplished for what you guys have killed in the woods. Now, you and Brock being so humble, you guys won't ever brag about it, but don't worry, I will brag for you guys. But anyways, so you said you grew up hunting and fishing.
Yeah.
But in particular, you said you're a West Sider.
I
Right?
am.
Born and
Yeah,
raised.
San Juan Islands.
When you said you were born and raised hunting, did you just hunt West Side or did you actually like hunt East Side?
It was always east side.
Okay.
Yeah, it was always east side. Me and my dad would go up like into the foothills and hunt grouse on the west side.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never gotten the kick for blacktail. Like the sort of the arc of how I got into hunting really. I mean, I was into it, and then like once I realized I had a driver's license and could go do it myself,
Yep.
I like instead of like meeting my dad halfway and my mom picking him up when I was like 12, 13, it was like, okay, I can go do this now. So I got a buddy and we like started hunting blacktail and quickly figured out I'm not a blacktail hunter. And then I just was like, I always loved mule deer. The first buck I got was a mule deer, but I wasn't high. It was like when I was 12. But then I was like, okay, well, you know what? I love, because I grew up backpacking too, like just in the mountains. And I was like, what if I combine the two? Like I can do that? Okay, cool. I'm going to do it. Just figured it out, all the resources are out there in the world. Just got to look it up and watch some YouTube, but YouTube certified. That matched with just my dad teaching me how to hunt basically. And I was fresh out of high school and I was just like, I'm going to go figure this out. First I graduated in June or something. And then that September went up for the first time when I was 18 and just figured it out and smacked a buck. It was cool. And then I was hooked forever.
So
Ever.
So you grew up hunting like not high country stuff.
It was more like around Northeast Washington. I hunted elk more so than high country deer. And then when I was 18, I got the kick for it. And I went up into that one hunt.
Where did that bug come from?
Which one?
The high country bug.
Oh, that was, where did it come from?
Yeah, because like you said, you grew up hunting like foothills. So where did you take that leap from saying, hey, let's just go into the high country?
Because I watched YouTube and everything. I'd seen all these high country hunts and I realized I could do backcountry hunting and like combine the two words. I was like, okay. So like there was an area that we had, spent time when I grew up where we went camping. I was like, that looks cool. I'm going to go hike around there. And quite literally just hiked around and found a spot. And me and my buddy went up that summer actually and scouted. We're like, there were deer everywhere. We're like, whoa, what just happened? Well, actually we failed first. We went one spot and didn't see a single thing and almost died, but that's a whole nother story. And then we came back, went and did it again and to a different spot and found some deer. And then, went up and I just like, here we go.
So it was around, and you'd kind of heard of it, but it wasn't something that you grew up like with your dad, kind of showing you the ropes of high country.
No, I'm all the high country is all like self-taught. I didn't know how to do it other than just knew how to backpack and hike. And all the rest, we were always, we call it fat man camping, where we'd, wall tents or hunting camp or stuff like that, where we'd, drive and then go hunt. It was never anything where it was like high country at all.
Yeah, so this podcast is going to be pretty pivoted towards your high country stuff.
Yeah.
But are there any like staple stuff that you do with your family or your dad or your family that you guys still do every year? Like for example, like I do deer camp every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't really do anything traditionally with high country.
Right.
But what are some of your backgrounds with that?
Me and my dad, that's where we bond the most. Like I'm so blessed. We have such a tight relationship, and most of the time is either on the water or where we really connect is in the mountains. And I drug him along on a high country hunt this year because he wanted to come with me, and I almost killed him, I think. But what we do every year is elk camp. We've done it since I was 12. That was my first year hunting. It was elk camp.
And I haven't really like followed you too much, but from what it seems like you and your dad are pretty consistent at killing elk every year here in Washington.
It's something we've been very blessed with. Yeah, every year it's either he tags out or I tag out, and this year for the first time we both tagged out, and
that's awesome.
Very, very blessed with that. But it's for Washington. We're very blessed where we have a property we're able to hunt.
Yeah.
Where the elk just love to consist because it's surrounded by public, so they get pushed into the property. I've been going there since I was 8, so I know it like the back of my hand. So like if they go one way, I know where they go, and then it's so fun.
And it's funny. Yeah. A little backstory with how this podcast even came together is the day before he saw his spike bull last year. That's when I messaged him. Yeah, I was like, hey man, in March, Nate and I are trying to do a mule deer series. Like, are you free? And he's like, dude, I'd love to, but I'm just trying to kill an elk right now, man. Like, I was so close, but just couldn't make it happen. And then I was like, dude, don't worry, man. Like, tomorrow, I know you're going to kill tomorrow. And then the next day, sends me a text of a photo. Like,
bull down.
I got one, bull down.
Yep.
I was like, see, I told you, man. Like, I knew you were going to kill one.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of how this whole thing kind of came together. It's like I messaged him right in the middle of elk season because my dad, my brother, and I, we had tripled on the opener. And then
cool.
I had a week off essentially. And so I was like, I'm going to take this time to kind of prepare our Mule Deer March because we're trying to get 5 guys. And it only sounds like it's 5 people, but when you actually try to put 5 guys together, it's a lot of work.
That is.
Because I can only imagine.
You're balancing their work schedule, you're balancing Nate's work schedule, you're balancing my work schedule, and in some cases, like, you live across the state.
Right.
So to get you in the studio, it's a hassle.
Yeah, it's a big commitment.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm so stoked
We're
to hang out
stoked.
with you guys.
This is 2 things I want to say here, just kind of as side notes, is you're another guy that we've had in the studio where you're a full-time job guy.
Yeah.
You're not a outfitter. You're
2
not
jobs,
a guy.
yeah.
You're not a influencer hunter that's doing this all the time.
Yeah.
Like you're figuring this out on kind of the weekend warrior hybrid schedule, right?
Yeah, so I have 2 jobs. One is full-time. I'm a manager at a water taxi company, and we run in the San Juans. We have 4 boats, and we run back and forth. And then I have a side hustle doing like outboard mechanic work and stuff like that. And that's nice because I can create my own schedule with that. With the other one, Island Express, I work Wednesday through Saturday. And in the summer, if I have to go in if something breaks, which is all the time, I'll have to cancel a trip because I got to go in and I got to take care of the company. But yeah, no, this time of year is perfect because I get, it's normally 50 hours a week now. But in the summer, I mean, it's bonkers. Everyone's coming
just 50
out.
hours a week in this low season.
Well, compared to summer when it's like 70, 80 hours a week, it gets crazy. Like,
Yeah.
so when I get to sneak away to go scout, it's like, oh my gosh.
Well,
this
that's
is
why
good.
we love having people who are just like your normal person, if you
Right.
will, where like they're grinding their work life, but then yet they still make time
Yeah.
and find time to not only scout but do these big trips where
Right.
you're bringing out mashers. So
I'm very lucky where I get to work because the way it sort of works out is my business partners, they go on their vacation this time of the year, and I'll just work for like the whole month essentially while they're doing it. And it's slow season, so it's okay. It's like not a problem. And then come October, see you guys, I'm gone. And I'm gone the whole month. And like that's when it tapers down with the slow season too. So it works. But like, where else can I be off for 4 weeks, right? And it's not a problem. I'm so lucky with that.
So you really spend a lot of time in the off season to get your work hours in. And then
Yes.
once hunting season
Right.
rolls around, it's just like, well, I did my work.
Right.
Let me just don't bother
Right.
me.
Well, it's mostly summer. It's just burning it on both ends in the summer. It's just get it done and just like it's a blur. It's all becomes a blur. And if I can sneak away once, awesome, cool. And then you throw in friends, family, and
Yep.
small group. I'm involved in my church and trying to get do all of it in one place is like it's fun. But like that's where I'm closest to him.
Yeah,
also is when
it's
I'm
a
out
balance.
there. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, with that said, we're going to tie it all in here because,
I love it.
like I said, from what I have seen, you're pretty much a rifle hunter.
Yes. Yep. I've always been.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
grew up rifle hunting and you
Yep.
still do a lot of that. Kind of like me. Like Nate and I, we're
Yeah.
slowly starting to dabble outside of rifles and do a little bit of archery hunting.
I would love
Sometimes
to,
muzzleloader.
but yeah.
With the success you're finding, though, I don't know why you pivot.
I know that when I get into it, because I know I will, because
Yeah.
I've always wanted to draw a bow back, and I know when I get into it, it's just going to be head first, and it's going to be like there's no looking back. But I love rifle hunting though; it's so fun. And regardless, I'm not one of those rifle hunters that builds their rifle out so I can shoot a deer at 1,500 yards. That's not hunting to me personally. Like I want to get within 300 yards because then that's more fun. Like now they can hear me. Now they can possibly smell me.
Yeah.
When I'm shooting across a canyon, it doesn't get my blood pumping. And also then that opens the door to hitting them wrong and the wind's wrong in the canyon. I like getting close.
Yeah.
It's more fun.
I respect that.
Another thing I do want to say, guys, and this is also every week, but especially this week, if you are listening, you might want to hop on YouTube and just take a look. Because in the studio here, just as a brief, and we'll hear stories here, we've got a 6x5 Washington deer, and Brayden's not a big score guy, so he doesn't really put the tape on stuff, but maybe like a 170s deer. We've got a nice 4x4 Idaho deer and a 12x12 Utah deer.
It's like one side, depends how you count, but I think when I was all jacked up and was texting my family, I was like, it's a 13x10, but I was just counting nubs,
All to say, we've got
ridiculous.
some really spectacular animals in the house.
And one of the things I want to highlight is these are all recent. Because
Yes.
this is a point that I always make with a lot of the guests we have in house is like, yeah, you could bring in a buck that you shot 30 years ago, right?
Right.
But is it really relevant to our day and
Right.
age? Because we live in a day and age where a lot of people will criticize the idea that there's still big bucks running around.
Right.
And
They are.
for the past 3 weeks or so, we've kind of had people in the studio that kind of have proven that wrong. Like, yeah, they might not be as common as they used to be, but they're still running around.
They're around.
So,
They're around.
what years did you take these bucks?
So these two were this year. This was
2025.
This was 25, and then that one I want to say is 24.
So, within the past 2 years.
Yeah, I've been
Insane.
very blessed that
Unbelievable.
like each year I got a $2, and not all in Washington, obviously, but yeah, very lucky where I was able to do one in-state hunt and get a buck, and then go somewhere else, like either Idaho, Washington, or not Washington, Idaho, Utah, and be able to smack another buck.
Like you said, you really took the whole high country thing in its head
Yeah.
and kind of went all in. And you, like you said, nobody really held your hand. You kind of just said, that's what I want to do. I'm going to go do it.
Right.
And when you did that, a lot of times when you have this idea that's not necessarily familiar to you or your circle,
Yeah.
you sound crazy to a lot of your friends and family.
Oh my
like
gosh.
you're like, why does this guy want to go do this hunt when we've been doing this traditional where it might be a little bit more tame of a hunt?
Yeah.
And so obviously when you do it and you bring up this
Yeah.
idea, a lot of times you're going to get rejected by some of your best buddies
Yeah.
saying like, I don't want to do that hunt yet.
No one wants to like all my friends that don't even hunt. They say I won't go hiking with you. You're a mountain goat. Like, and yeah, it's true.
And so
But, like,
with that, it forces you to do a lot of
Yeah.
solo hunting.
it's true.
And I think you have a story you want to tell us about solo hunting in the
Oh,
high country.
I got a lot. Yeah. But I always tell myself if I don't think of myself in the hunt and go, what am I doing? I'm not doing it right.
Yeah.
Like if it's a right hunt when I'm thinking I'm crazy.
So this is a prime example of why the antler score sometimes doesn't really matter.
Nah.
We have 3 great bucks here. Don't get me wrong. But we're going to talk about the story of the middle one, which compared to the other 2, he's the smallest one antler size. But he's probably got one of the heaviest stories to him. So,
I cried like a baby when I shot that buck.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to admit that. Yeah. No,
I mean,
it was, oh my gosh.
I mean, I've cried over animals before,
Yeah.
and it sounds
almost every time.
Yeah, it sounds
of course.
crazy to say, but there are some hunts where, like, when
Oh,
you
man.
put in every single ounce of effort,
Everything.
and
Yep.
sometimes you're like, it's not going to happen, and
Everything.
it happens. That's when it gets you.
Every time.
So, with that said,
It gets me
Brayden,
every
take us
time.
back to just last year and walk us
Yeah.
through how you ended up taking that buck home.
Yeah, so Austin, the guy I hunt with him a lot, he's the only guy that's crazy enough that I know that like will go do the crazy stuff that I do, where I go and look at that, and anyone that in their right mind would go like, absolutely not. And he looks, he goes, yeah, let's go do it. Let's see how fast we can do it too, right? So, like, he's the only guy. I went over to Idaho, and it was a general hunt in Idaho. And I went in there solo. I think it was a very large tag, and I went and hunted it earlier in the season. Didn't see a thing, and I went to a different spot, but I didn't see a thing. And that was solo too. It was like 3 or 4 days, and it was like I was burning it hard too. Like I covered almost 20 miles a day, and I didn't see a thing. And not just glassing, like sitting for an hour and glassing a basin. I was there 30 minutes before first light. I was there 30 minutes after it gets dark, just in case, because even if you just kept a glimpse of them at last light and you see a big body, great, that's where I'm going to go tomorrow. Nothing. Didn't see a single thing, which was surprising because I didn't see any people either. It was weird. I'm like, oh man, where am I going to go? So like on my drive to go hunt this buck, I'm like on Onyx looking. Like I didn't even have a set spot. I had a bunch of pins, but I couldn't figure out exactly where. So I called Austin and I'm like, man, where should we go? So then we're looking at it together as I'm driving over to Idaho to figure it out. And we found one spot that we liked, and we're just trying to find access. The access, the hardest part. Oh, this is a funny story. I thought I found a road that could get in there. And when it comes hunting season, I like buy in bulk energy drinks, and I don't sleep. I drive through the night. Like I'll get off Saturday night, and I'm driving through the night, and I'm gonna get there so I can get the most amount of time to hunt.
Have you met our friends Colin and Jason?
I don't think so.
You guys are
I
listening.
don't think so.
There's some of our buddies that follow that same principle.
There's not a lot of people we know that will just straight up not sleep.
I won't do it because I only get so many days to hunt, right? Like I think about it every day.
Yeah.
I only get so many days to do it. So it's like, yeah, I just worked a 12-hour shift. Don't care. I'm going to drive through the night, and I'm going to get to Idaho, and I'm going to close my eyes for 30 minutes. I'm going to wake up, and I'm going to go find something.
That
You know?
in and of itself is way harder than what we just described. It's extremely hard. Even I can't, like if I'm by myself, I could never get in the mindset to convince myself that that's what I'm going to do. I remember I'm going to take my beauty sleep.
Right.
When it's the right time to go, I will go.
Don't get me wrong. This time of the year, I get my sleep, and I love my sleep. But like, I like it's like sleep debt, right? Like I'll build my sleep debt up when I'm in hunting season, and then I'll make up for it all winter. It's fine.
Yeah.
And I do it without thinking. And like my mom hates it, my dad hates it. They're
It's
like,
just natural.
stop doing it. I'm like, nope, I'm going. See you guys, I'm gone. And it's just natural. Like, obviously, I'm going to drive through the night. Like, it goes without saying. But I found this road, and it was pretty early season, and I'm driving it, and it's like 2 a.m, and then the snowstorm just hits. Like, and I mean like the craziest snowstorm ever. And then it goes from nothing on the road to 6 inches of snow on the road. And it's like, and I still needed on Onyx. I said I needed to go up the road 2,000 more feet. And I'm like, I am not making it to where I need to go. Like, there is no way. So I had to flip around on this tiny little road, and it was scary. But got it flipped around, went back down into the town. Now it's 3 a.m. So I'm just sitting there in this parking lot, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I have no idea where I'm gonna go. And then like I just zoomed in, and I was like, oh, I'll go right there. Whatever, let's try it. Whatever. No idea. Like, total Hail Mary. I drive there, and now it's like 4 a.m. And then it's like, I finally get to this spot, and I park the truck, sleep for like 20 minutes or something, and then get up, pop an energy drink, and just like, all right, here we go. No idea this area. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know anything other than Onyx.
And you're packing in.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm packing in like 80 pounds. Like, I'm going in heavy because my goal is like, I'm going to stay there the whole season. So I had 9 days worth of food. Like, I'm heavy, and I have a stove. I have no one to help carry, anything. So I got the shelter, the stove, because it's in the area. That snowstorm could happen like that, and I need a stove. I don't need it, but it's nice. I could go into that. But like, yeah, it was like I pulled up there and I just started hiking, and we'll see what we find. Like, it looks good. You guys know very well. You'll look at Google Maps or Onyx, and it looks great.
So
it
deceiving.
just looks so beautiful, right? It's like, I'm going to go in there. That's great. And then you go in there and you hate your life for the next however long, and it's matchstick timber up to your chest, and it's like, I'm never going there again. So I was like, I had no idea. Hiking was okay. It was a few miles. I didn't see anyone, so that was good. And I got up there to the top, and I cut this big track.
Because you're hiking in fresh snow, yeah?
That spot, it had melted. The sun came up, and it started melting.
Okay.
So that spot wasn't as high as where I was driving.
Gotcha.
So there was a little bit of snow, yes. But where I cut that track, yes. I was getting to the top of the mountain, and I cut this track, and it was a big track. I'm like, okay, that's a buck. And it's all by itself. So I'm like, okay, it's a buck, 100%. And essentially, it's just a big horseshoe basin, and I'm just coming up one finger, and I'm wrapping around, and I get towards sort of like the middle of the horseshoe, and I'm finding those tracks, and he's going towards where I want to go camp. I'm like, oh, perfect, this is great. So then I keep following it, and I never jumped him, and I got to a point where like it was like his droppings were like melted in the snow and still fresh. Like, I like was feeling, I'm like, okay, that's fresh. Like, he's close, but never jumped him. I had never found that buck. I don't know if it could have been him. I have no idea. So then I found camp, set camp up, and cut some firewood. I'm a big hot tent guy. Like, I won't go without a stove. Even if it's in September, August, I'm bringing a stove because it's nice. If it downpours,
and
I
this
can
is
sit
like
by the
what,
stove.
late October, early November?
This is middle of October.
Okay.
Yeah, middle of October, general Idaho season. Never been in the area, and every time I get over the next ridge, I'm like, oh, that looks good. And then I get over the next one, I'm like, oh, that looks really good. And it just like kept getting better and better and better. You're like, that feeling when you're in a new area and you've never seen it before, and it's so exciting. It's like, what's over that ridge?
Everywhere.
What's over that ridge? And that gets me so excited. Like, I'll get all pumped up, and I'm like, I can't wait for tomorrow. So I get everything set up, and then I do like a quick glass. There was some water source close by camp, and I just glassed around camp. So then day 2, I wake up, and I start hiking along this ridge. It was only a few hundred yards above my camp, so it wasn't much every morning to get up. And I'm walking along this ridge, and as the sun's coming up, like I didn't have a glassing knob or anything, so I had no idea where to go. I'm just figuring it out. And it's pretty open country. There's a few dead, like, burn areas. It's an old burn. I would probably say a 10-year-old burn. So, like, that's money, right? That's where all the bucks are, in my opinion. And I'm just glassing. I'm walking. I'm glassing, and I'm trying not to skyline myself. And I see this buck bedded in the trees at like 400 something. I'm like, oh, and I just saw frame. I'm like, I'm shooting it. Don't care. I'm solo. I'm shooting that. And it wasn't like a small, but it was a nice buck. I'm like, easy, shooter all day long. So then I start army crawling, and I'm trying to set up the all-in scope on it to try and get the video of it. And I had just done a hunt before, which was a big backcountry hunt too, and I had roughed my scope up pretty good, but I thought it was fine. Like, I think it's okay. When I came and scouted and saw nothing, I test shot it. Everything was fine, I thought. So then I go up. I don't know if it got jostled or something, but I line up on this buck and I shoot suppressed. I cracked the shot off at, I think, 400 something, which I'm very comfortable at. And I watched it whiz over him and I missed him. He jumped up and he ran away. I'm like, shoot. Dang. I'm like, come on. But I'm like, I was like, I missed a buck. But I'm stoked, man. It's the second day of the hunt, and I saw a shooter buck. Are you kidding me? Like, what am I going to find tomorrow or something? So then I went to where he was. I made sure there wasn't blood, and we're good. And missed him, and he survived. He's out there, hopefully, living somewhere. And I spent the whole rest of that day in the direction where he went, and just hoping maybe I could catch him, because it was pretty open where I could see maybe if he, was going up the ridge or something. I think he was out the country, though. I'm pretty sure it whizzed past his ear, so he heard it and was like, I'm out. Because that's why I shoot suppresses normally, because it gives me a second chance if I miss, because they don't hear it. And especially at 400 yards on top of the ridge, the wind's going to carry any kind of noise. He's not going to hear it. But it spooked him. So he ran. Spent the whole rest of that day trying to look for him and any other buddies that he may have had. Didn't find them. Day 3, I don't think I saw anything day 3. It was a steady grind day where I was grinding hard, just covering the same area that he went to, because I thought maybe he'd have some buddies with him, and just staying high and glassing, and spending the whole day, all day long glassing.
You're not even picking up does.
Oh, it was all bucks. I saw mostly
Really?
all bucks. It was it was a very buck heavy unit. I mean, I may have seen a few does. There was one really cool little 4x3 basket buck where I was still hunting through some timber, and he walked right in front of me. Didn't even you to me, and he didn't see me. And he walked right, and I just I saw him coming over the hill, so I just sat and I just waited for him, and he just walked right past me. And the wind was in my face, so he couldn't smell me or anything.
Why did you shoot him?
He's too small.
Oh, too small.
He wasn't a shooter. He was a 4x3, but I mean basket buck.
So when you go out there, you do have a certain baseline of what you're after. Okay.
I do. If you would have asked me when I was 18 when I first started, no, anything that's 3-point is dying.
I mean, when you have what you have under your belt, it's a little different.
But it's also different of these are great. That's awesome. But truly what I'm there for is, number one, the experience. And I can walk out of there being successful and I don't have a tag filled. I feel fulfilled when I go out there.
That often rings true when you're on a solo hunt.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so good for it makes me who I am.
Yeah.
I have to have one of those hunts a year. And then the second reason is I go for meat. I don't eat any other game meat. I don't eat other meat than just game meat than what I kill. I won't go to the grocery store. So I am there to fill a tag at the end of the day.
Yes.
There's that fine line of, you're going to have standards in the first day or this or that. But it truly depends. At the end of the day, I'm there to get meat. If it's one of these, awesome, cool, that's great. But I'd shoot that deer all day long. I'd shoot one smaller than him all day long. That's not the deal. But when I had just come off shooting this guy, and I was I'm okay.
You're not.
I'm gonna hold out a little bit.
You're not super desperate for a meat.
No, I'm not desperate. And I knew that we had elk season, and it was looking to be we have reveal tacticams too, and I knew there was a bunch of bulls around. It's okay, we're looking good. Elk season looked good. Don't want to count my eggs before they hatch, but it looks good. I was going in it of a zero pressure. It's good. And I stumbled upon a bear early in September too. I was out target shooting and one came out in the basin below me and I shot it. I was that was a gift from God. Here you go. So I was in no pressure.
That bear was probably dealing with some mental issues. He was just take me out of this life.
Or man, he was just having some he's going crazy for those blueberries, man, and he didn't care about anything else.
I remember
he did not care.
I remember you posting about that on Instagram. Yeah, man, I'm just at the range and I just shot a bear. I was
I was in the back of the picture, you can see my truck. It was just a Forest Service road, and there's this big basin. I just got my suppressor, so I was making sure my zero was still on. I put 20 rounds down without the suppressor too, making sure it was dialed. I had my 10 mil that I was practicing. I put 50 rounds down on 10 mil. I had a new 30-30. So I shot probably 50 rounds of that too without a suppressor. I'm being loud and I'm on the phone. I'll answer a phone call. I'm talking to someone on the phone, like a client. I drive in my truck that's loud and I drive across this basin and to get 400 yards to test the range to shoot steel. And I just park and I'm crack a few off here, and then I drive more around the basin to get to 500 yards, crack a few, or I'm about to crack some off, and I look down in there, and I know it's a blueberry field, of all blueberry fields, but it's a popular area. People drive by all the time. It's not a secret spot.
It's a range.
Well, it's not. It's a big pit that people use as a range. It's not really a official shooting range, but people use it all the time as a range. And I get out of my truck and I look down there and I have my binos on and I'm something's moving down there. So I put my binos. It's like a bear. He's just walking. He's just like the blueberries. I mean, the bushes are hanging down because of how big those blueberries are.
Those are crazy berries.
And they're high. It's high country for Western Washington. it's like as high country as it gets for over there.
Yep.
And he just walks out, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's see if the suppressor works. And one shot, and he just drops right there. So I went, and all I had on me, I wasn't prepared. I was wearing like work jeans. Like,
I mean, you're at the range.
Yeah. All I had on me was this.
No way.
It has broke since, but I skinned that whole bear with that thing right there.
That's why you have a multi-tool with
Exactly. I skinned that whole bear with it.
So you're telling me that Nate and I last year, we were struggling like crazy. We had
business.
We had the worst bear season of all
Dude,
time. And this guy over here at the range is just like, oh, look, there's a bear.
That was my first bear. I had never shot a bear before, and I always go out for them, and I can't find them.
That's
Same
hilarious.
deal. It's a struggle fest for bear every year. Never shot one. I've tried so hard. And I'm out, it just walks in front of me.
Well, I think your buddy Austin can help you with that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that guy, he is a killer. Yeah,
He is.
You want anything?
We'd love to have him in the studio sometime.
He is.
But anyways,
he's another level. Yeah, but that happens. So no pressure, right? Like it's no pressure. I got that. That was a funny story. I'm like wearing my favorite jeans too, and like I got the bear and I just throw it over my shoulders, and it had yellow stain on the teeth, so it was a few years old. It wasn't like a small one, but Western Washington, they just don't get that big in that area that I was. They just don't get that big. So I was able to throw them over my shoulders, and I was in Romeos too. Like I wasn't in boots, I was in Romeos. So I'm like slipping up this straight up rock face. So fun. Going down to the gas. I need ice, right? It's the middle of September. It's hot. So I'm like, I need ice, but I don't have a pair of jeans to change into. I'm covered in blood and blueberries, and like I look like it looked so bad. Like it looked so bad.
A little sketchy.
Yeah, so like I went into that gas station so quick. I'm like, got ice? Cool, thanks, bye. And then just threw it in the bed and ripped out of there. So
that's too funny.
But I was in no pressure. Like,
so it sounds like
good.
Going to this hunt, like you said, there was no pressure because you had a relatively successful start to your season already.
It was ridiculous. Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like much, but even I feel like every single year where when I have a slow start, that pressure of like, dang, I'm not going to get any meat this year, it starts to build.
It does.
But even if you just kill one big game animal, like say August or September, man, like the amount of pressure that you feel in October and November, it's alleviated.
It's a deep breath.
Big time.
Yep.
Right, so like this year we didn't shoot anything in August, and I was like, "Dude, this is gonna suck." And then I go to Wyoming and I shoot a mule deer, and then I go to Manitoba, I shoot a caribou. All of a sudden, I'm like,
good, man.
I'm coasting.
Exactly. Yeah. And it felt nice just to start the season that way. There is a level of pressure. Like we're out there to fill tags, right?
Yeah,
like
and it's expensive.
I'm not a trophy hunter, I would say. I've been very blessed to shoot trophies, and that's awesome. But like, I'm not out there to be a trophy hunter. I'm out there to hunt, and I'm out there for the experience. And at the end of the day, I want to fill the freezer. And one of my favorite parts is processing the meat. Like that processor is awesome. Like that gets my gears turning. I love that. That's awesome.
That's a good time.
I love processing the meat and being a part of pulling the trigger all the way to putting it in white paper and putting it in the freezer. Like that's the best part. That feels so good. And then all the things you can make with it too. I love cooking with it and tacos and all the good stuff. Yeah, making me hungry. This is my bad. Yeah, that's why I'm out there, right? Mm-hmm. So like once that pressure is relieved, it does feel nice.
That's why
there is a pressure.
That's why. So normally missing a buck like that, it would crush a lot of people.
Oh, it would crush me. Yeah.
And I'm sure you felt some kind of.
I did. There was a little heartbreak.
But then at the end of the day, it's kind of like, it's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm just going to continue to hunt because I know some people, if that happened to them, especially given like how hard you already hunted that particular hunt, that's enough to send them home.
Oh.
To say that was what my hunt built up to, and I just airballed it.
It gets worse.
And I'm not going to get a chance again, and I'm out.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But for you, it's just like, I'm just going to
I'm here, man. Now I'm here. I drove all the way here, and it's beautiful. Like, am just
And the reason why I highlighted that is because Nate and I, we did a podcast on solo hunting about the mental gymnastics that people go through.
Man.
When you miss something like that and nobody's there to kind of pick up your slack and kind of put you back in the right mindset, again, it's really easy to talk yourself out of the hunt.
I had my dad on hot tile. Like, I was like, because I have a Garmin inReach, and I'm just like, dude, I just missed this buck. And he was my solid that whole trip. Like, I kept texting me like, man, this is rough. He's like, dude, just like, I'll get to this point of the story. That turned my whole hunt around when he said it. Like, we'll put a pin in that. But like, then that next day, day 3, I don't think I saw any. I saw that smaller buck, and I was tempted. I was like, oh yeah. But like, I knew there were bigger deer around because like there were basins I hadn't even gone to yet that looked just like unreal. Like, I feel like when you spend enough time doing it, you have a really good consensus of something that's bucky.
You have an intuition.
Like, if it's bucky, it's like there's gonna be a deer in there, 100%. And there was this herd of elk. Oh, I ran into an elk hunter up there. There was no one else deer hunting, but they were elk hunting. And they're like, yeah, we saw this big buck over here. So they're telling me about all the deer that they saw. They wouldn't tell me where, but they just said they saw a bunch of deer. I was like, well, I saw elk. I'll tell you where elk is. But they didn't. They were like, oh, we're not paying attention to deer. So it's like, because there was that snowstorm that I almost got stuck in. They said that next morning, they said there were bucks everywhere, just like littered the hillside.
And they were up in the snowstorm when that
They
hit?
were, yeah, they were up there. They were like, oh man, when I was packing this buck out, I ran into them because they went back down to go bring someone to the airport, and he's coming back up. He had like an 18-pack of beer in his pack bag. Like he didn't care. Like that guy did not care. And he had his like 60-year-old dad with him too, with an giant EXO loaded up too.
Oh,
like,
that's
dang,
awesome.
dude, like that's tough, man. Like that's
crazy.
awesome. He's like from the other side of the country. Like he wasn't from around here either. Like he was from, I want to say like one of those like
East Coast?
no tree states, like in the middle of nowhere. I don't even remember where it was, but like he was from far away, and they spent like weeks up there.
Wow.
There's
Weeks
people
up
like
there.
that'll make
Yeah.
you realize that. I was in Oregon this last year with my buddy Tanner.
Yeah.
And we weren't crazy. We were 9 miles back.
Yeah.
And not the easiest 9 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And we were walking up the trail and ran into a guy with a Walmart pack, Skechers,
Yep.
carrying his rifle in a soft rifle case just by the handle. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to keep going in for deer." And Tanner and I were there with all our backcountry gear that we made ourselves broke on. Like, what are we doing?
Makes you think sometimes.
There's people out
Yeah.
there for the right reason, for
It
sure.
makes you think. And that guy, I think his name was Byron or something like that. Cool guy. He helped me look for that deer, even though I knew it wasn't hit. He helped me look around, and like he was eyes in the sky for me when I went down and tried.
So at the end of the day, you guys did exchange information.
We exchanged numbers, but it didn't work the whole time. Like I tried to text him, and it wouldn't go through because he wouldn't have service. And this keys into the later part of the story when I find that buck. Day 3, I didn't see anything. I saw some elk that night. I think a few does too. But I was like, honestly, I was hoping for a snowstorm to come through because when this snowstorm kicks through there, it just triggers a feeding frenzy for these bucks. Feeding frenzy.
And you met those guys on day 3?
I met them, I think, on day 2 when I shot at that
day
deer
2.
and missed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Like that's, at least I have a guy here. Like, it's just a guy here, but like we weren't hanging out or anything. Like we shook hands and that's about it. Like, so it was still, very much alone out there. And then day 4, I went, and so essentially like it's a finger basin that goes up and then it tees. So you can either go left or you can go right. And there's a bunch of different finger basins on the left. There's a bunch of different finger basins on the right. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go left this day. And then tomorrow I'm going to explore right. So I go left, saw those elk again, didn't see any deer. And then in the morning, and then the evening rolled around and they started to get up from their beds. And I spotted a buck a few thousand yards away on the ridgeline. He was skylined. And I could just see, I couldn't tell it was a buck, but I saw his body. I'm like, that's a buck, 100%. So I was texting Austin, like, oh, buck spotted. Like, text you soon, later. So I started hoofing it, and I think I cut a fresh cat track too. Like there was some fresh dusting of snow, and there's a fresh cat track that maybe I was like, ooh, I don't like those things. So I cut that, and then I'm trying not to, because there's a spine that I was riding, and the buck was over here, and there was a herd of elk here. So I'm trying not to spook this herd of elk that might, spook the deer as well. So I'm like, keep peeking over at the elk. They have no idea I'm there. And I'm just riding this ridge. And then these deer just pop out. There's these 2 small bucks. There's like a 3x2 and a 2x1. Small young deer. And they're on the ridge and they see me. And I'm like, oh, shoot. So I drop and I get all set up. And I'm looking at
how far?
150 yards.
Close.
Like I was getting close.
Okay.
And I was almost about to take my boots off. Like I was like, okay, I'm going to get close. But I didn't know what the buck was. And then when I finally saw him, I realized, okay, it has a huge body, but he's small. Those deer, they have huge bodies over there. It's ridiculous. Those high country deer, it's silly. It is silly. So I'm sitting there looking at him, and the sun's going down. I'm like, in reaching my dad. I'm like, yeah, he's a 3x2. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I missed that buck. I'm like, how much do I really want to more suffer out here? Because I'm sleeping on the ground. It's freezing. Just going through all the motions of like, should I settle with this smaller buck? Like, he's right here. And then for something in me was just like, don't do it. Don't do it. So I watched them, and I did a few dry fires just practicing.
So these 2 bucks that you're looking at right now, are these the same bucks that you saw skyline?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. And then they look at me, and then they sort of look back, and then they start sparring. They don't care I'm there. I watched. It was so cool. These are just like, I love the unexpected moments out there, and that was one of them. Because I was going to that buck to go look at him, but then I got to sit for 45 minutes and watch them spar back and forth.
So cool.
And it's just so cool watching them in their natural habitat doing what they do, and they probably had only seen a handful of people in their life, and he's just up there goofing off, sparring, and it's like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to shoot him, but I'm going to see how close I can get to him, because I'm like, why not? You know? So I like pick my stuff up. I leave my pack with my headlamp. This is a key part. I leave my pack with everything, water, headlamp, everything back there. I'm like, I'm just going to go see how close I can get. Why not? Right. So then I pick up my stuff. I go walk over to him, and it's like like the sun is just setting. So I got like 15 minutes of shooting light left. And I crest over this ridge, and there they are, and I see them trotting away. I'm like, oh, okay, there they are. And I like look up at them, and I'm just more so practicing. I like to do dry fires as well, because sometimes I have trigger panic where like I'll jolt a lot because I'll get excited. So I like practicing in real world scenarios where like the gun is clear, like there's not even a mag in, like there's no way nothing's going to go off, but I'll dry fire on them. So then I do a freehand, and I'm looking at that, and then out of the corner of my eye, I see some movement running down, and this ridge goes down, it's a big burn, and I see two butts, and I'm like, oh, more deer. So then I look down, and I just see huge frame, I'm like, and there's two of them. I'm like, oh my gosh. So then I rack around, and I go up, flick the safety off, and I mart at them and get them to stop, and they stop. And I shoot, and I watch one just like hit the ground. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Did that just happen?
How far?
This was close. I want to say like 75 yards. It's close.
Very close. Okay.
Yeah, and mind you, how the rifle had been off. I have my 10 mil on my chest, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go finish it. You know, if he needs to get finished. Hindsight 2020, I should have just put another one in him. I got up close to him, and it just nicked him. It wasn't like it shocked his spine. It wasn't a fatal shot at all. So then when I ran up to him excited, I'm like, oh my gosh. So then I grab my pistol and I pull it out like this. He sees me fully alive. Like he's not hurting. He's barely, it's just like nicked him.
He's just dazed.
He's dazed, which is why he hit the ground.
And how close were you once you pulled your
You
10?
to me.
So like
You to me.
3
I'm
yards.
right here, and it's a stud buck. Like he is tall, like I want to say close to this buck, like taller than this deer. They were same caliber, but like taller. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that's cool. And his buddy was also from You to Me, but like he couldn't figure out what was going on with his buddy.
Yeah.
And he didn't care. I'm right here, and I'm like literally going like, hey, shoot, go. And he's not even looking at me. He's looking at his buddy like, what is going on with this thing? And then he finally like trots off, and I get up. I'm like, oh, he's right there, because he was right over like a bump. So I couldn't see him because I would have shot him with my rifle, but I couldn't see him. And then I got over that lump, and he was right in my lap. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to shoot him. And then he turns and looks at me fully alive and just jumps up, gone.
Could you see the impact from when he was laying there?
Yeah, it was close. It was pretty clear that it was not a fatal shot.
Yeah.
And how he reacted.
No better way to identify that than like seeing it from
literally right
arm's
there.
distance.
And he jumps up, and he bolts down the hill, and he's snorting at me and like fully alive, right? Like it had been 20, 30 seconds since the shot. So like if he was lung shot, he wouldn't have been snorting at me. He would have been blowing blood out of his nose, and he would have died. Like there was no way if it was fatal, he would have, and also if it was spine, there's no way he would have jumped up and started running. And he's like, he's gone. I don't know if you've seen a mule deer go, but they go. They got jets, and they were gone. He was gone.
I can vouch for that, because the only time I've really seen those bucks drop like that is when you hit them like high neck.
High shoulder.
High neck. Not even high shoulder, like high neck.
High neck, yep.
And we've lost animals doing that, because when an animal hits the ground, your first thought is not, that's a bad shot. Your first thought is always,
he's dead.
I got him.
He's gone.
You know, my nephew in 2021, the buck he shot dropped dead like that. The first mule deer buck I shot in 2013 dropped on the spot too. And like you, I went up to him thinking I shot a big buck, and then pew,
same deal with that.
He's gone.
My first deer when I was 12 years old, like he was double lunged, and we walked up to him 5 minutes later, and he still jumped up and ran a few yards and then went down.
That's crazy.
That just shows you how tough they are.
Yeah.
Right? Like he was double lunged, and he got up as soon as we got as close as you and me and scared the bejesus out of us. Like we got right up to him, and then they jumped up and then died. But like it just shows you their will to live is remarkable. It's crazy. But I could tell when I walked up to him and the way he was acting. And there was like a few drips of blood, but it dried up within 20 yards, 30 yards. So but then my head starts spiraling. I'm spinning the drain, man. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, you are kidding me.
So so when you bumped and he ran away, you just watched him run.
I watched him, and I tried to get a shot off, but I was so jacked up, and that deer was moving so fast. There's no way.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not smart. Like there was no way.
And plus, like you're losing light.
Oh yeah, it's dark. The sun's down. Like
Yeah.
it's going, and he goes down, and then he like stopped for a second, and he wasn't tripping or anything. Like he was healthy.
Yeah.
He's a healthy deer. And then he ran broadside and went down. So like in my mind, I'm still thinking, there's no way he's fatally shot. Like there's no way. Like I'm gonna try and jump him. Like he's gonna go bed down, and then I'm gonna go jump him before it's like pitch black. Headlamps at the top of the hill. So I dropped down like 1,000 feet trying to find this deer. I'm tracking
my.
him. I'm tracking him with my phone flashlight. That's at 10%.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm tracking him, and I'm just tracking, and there's no blood, and it's just like, and you know how it goes. I just start spiraling the drain. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like there is no way, man. Like I'm just in complete disbelief. And I'm like, I'm so worked up. And after that first deer too that I missed, like I get in my head, especially when I'm in the backcountry, I'll lose weight because it's just calorie deficit, number one. But then also like, it's weird when I'm solo hunting. It takes like a day or two for my appetite to come kick in. Like it normally takes a day or two for it. It's weird. I don't know what it is.
You use up your reserves.
Exactly. So that first buck, it sort of got me a little funky, but I was still happy to be there. But like I wasn't eating. So like my calorie deficit was awful. I'm shaky everywhere. And like I'm trying to eat, but I can't. Like I can't eat. I don't know what it is. And then this happens and my world falls apart. And it's just like I try to not let it fall apart. And I look and I'm like, okay, all stop. We got to pull an all stop. I need to go up, get my headlamp. I need to go up. I need to get my pack that has layers because now it's 20 degrees out. It's absolutely freezing and I'm wearing just a t-shirt. I like marked where I was. I went back up and it's like 1,000 feet straight up and like a quarter of a mile. Just silly. Mule deer country.
Steep.
Silly mule deer country. So I hoof it up. I had enough service. I got blip service in there. It was weird. I called my dad and told him what happened. And then I go down. I'm like, okay, I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to find this buck. Because in my mind, I'm still in disbelief. I'm like, he has to be dead. Like, I saw where it hit, but he has to. Like, he dropped. He has to. And I stayed way too long. And I mean, I was there all night just with my headlamp and just like in defeat. So then I dropped another 1,000 feet back down again.
So you didn't even like call it because it got dark. You got your pack and went back down.
I got my pack and my headlamp. I said, I'm going down.
That's
I got a
crazy.
battery pack. If a headlamp dies, I'll charge it. Like I'm not quitting. Like I'm going to find this deer because I messed up on the first one. I'm not going to mess up on this one. And I get down and I'm just looking all night. And then it comes to a point where it's like, it's bad. I have zero energy, absolutely zero energy. So I'm like, okay, mind you, I'm 4 miles from camp too. And that's where all my food is. That's where my sleeping bag is. And I looked at the weather and I'm like, I don't think I'm making it to camp tonight. There's no way. And I'm like, the weather was fine. The stars were going to be out. It wasn't going to snow. And I'm like, I'm sleeping under a rock. So that's what I did. So I went back up to the top of the ridge. And it took a long time to find a big, like a rock overcrop. There was only a few like spires that came up every now and then. And I found one that, I mean, like, it was like, I could show you a picture after the podcast. It was silly. And luckily I had puffy pants and I had a puffy jacket. And I just threw on every single layer I had. And I put the puffy on and then I put my rain jacket over top of it so it insulated it. And I sat there and under a rock all night long. Every 20 minutes I was waking up. It was, and mind you, I'm like in the fetal position and like.
Did you even make a fire?
I couldn't. Couldn't. I was too jazzed up. I was like, I need to go to bed, man. It was bad. It was probably the lowest of lows that I had in the mountains.
What time did you get under that rock?
I want to say like 1 a.m. or something.
Oh,
it was bad. And it was one of the silliest decisions I made too. Like looking back, I shouldn't have done that. But I was like, I'll be fine. I'm fine, right?
And this was coming off like 4,000 feet of change chasing this mule deer.
Yes. And like in however much time I was chasing that deer, all while like discouraged, like I'm not gonna find this deer. Like I'm the worst hunter ever. This sucks so much. Like what? Like God, what are you trying to teach me here, man? And slept under that rock and I woke up. I did make a fire, got warm. And then I looked down right below where I was sleeping. This is a key part. And I saw that smaller buck, the one that was sparring with the 2x1. And he was standing like, I don't know, 100 yards away just looking at me.
What time is this?
This is like the sun was just like dawn.
Like first light.
Dawn, yeah. The sun hadn't peaked the top of the hill yet, but it was like I could see. And so I made a fire, got warm. I'm like, I'm going to reassess. There's daylight now. So now I'm going to look in the daylight and maybe I'll see him. And I'm still just like, my mind, it hasn't clicked in my mind that deer's gone. That deer is gone. My mind was still, like looking back, I was such in a delusional state. It wasn't that good.
Well, hindsight's 2020.
2020,
right? But
100%.
In the moment,
100%.
I think any ethical hunter would be like, I have unfinished business with this deer. I haven't put in the proper time and effort to go find this deer.
Exactly. And I wanted to go to the ends of the earth to make sure that deer was fine, even though I knew Like I knew in my sight, I was like, he's going to be okay. That deer's going to be fine.
Yeah, and I feel like also that, like, I've been in this position, not this extreme of a position, but I've been in, like, the solo hunting, calorie deficit, exhausted position.
Yeah.
You process things very differently.
So differently.
Like, it is not like sitting here talking about it after, you know, sitting in a warm house or warm truck for the last few hours and eating good meals. You're in a completely different mindset.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, if you haven't been in that situation, you don't know what we're talking about.
Exactly. When you put as much emphasis on that, because I do not take lightly that taking of another life. Like it is like I want to do it as quickly, cleanly as possible, and as humanely as possible. Yeah. A lot of people think, oh, you're just going to kill. It's like that's not what I'm out there to do. Like hunters actually care about these animals the most, believe it or not. Like we care about them the most. Like I told my dad that year with that bear I started, I'm like, it's going to be a 1-shot, 1-kill year. I'm like, I'm not, that's my goal. Like, you know, I woke up, you know, no sleep, no food. I couldn't eat.
This is now what, day 5?
This is day 5. Yeah. I'm like, I'm sick to my stomach. Just, you know, that feeling.
Yeah.
It's like you've gone too far.
Sick to my stomach. And it's just like contemplating everything, right? And just like multiple times where I just like lay on the ground. I'm just like sitting there looking up. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, this is awful. But I mean, I went all the way down to the bottom of that drainage, like 2,500 feet down. And I gridded the whole, like I can show you the Onyx grid. I gridded the whole thing. He's gone. Gone. So then I was like, okay, like I just pray that he's okay. The next step would be dropping down another 4,000 feet all the way down to the bottom where my truck is. It's just like, I got to recoup, like I'll stop. So I turn around and go back to camp. I think I got to camp right before sundown, and I'm just like, you know, down in the dumps.
So day 5 was straight up just grid.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful. And like, I have to stop every 10 steps because I'm like, I have no strength at all. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there and I'm just contemplating. I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, what is God trying to show me here? Like, like, what is this? I'm so confused. This is the part with my dad. I was talking with him on the inReach, and he's like, dude, I can't explain what's going on right now. I don't know why that happened. It's unfortunate. I know how much emphasis you put on it, but look around where you are and enjoy that. That's what it's about. And like, I knew that in my brain, but I didn't want to accept it. So then he told me that, and I was like, dang, he's right. Like, okay, I'm going to just focus on where I am. And then my eyes open. I'm like, okay, wow, I'm in a pretty cool spot right now. Like, this is okay. But still, you know, I'm still pretty sad. And it's just like, it's gnarly. It's probably the lowest I'd ever been. Like, I was just contemplating everything. It was rough in the hunting world. That was the lowest I'd been, like, in hunting.
Yeah.
I'm like, how can I come back from, like, do I notch my tag on that buck? Like, do I go back to the truck? Like, what do I do? Like, I had no idea what to do. So I'm sitting there, and I just glassed by camp for that night and finally got some food in me. I'm like, I'm going to sleep, and I'm going to get up, and I'm going to go over to this basin that I hadn't gone to. And I'm like, I can either make excuses or I can make a difference. I can't do both. I got to do one of the two.
That decision right there is so tough.
So hard.
To, like, take that moving on step.
Yeah. I can either do poor me for the rest of the hunt, and it can ruin my whole hunt, and I can go home with my tail tucked between my legs, or I can get up and enjoy what I have and what's in front of me and what's given to me.
There goes a saying with it, right? When you're in those situations, you either find an excuse or you find a reason.
Exactly.
And it's easier to find an excuse than it is to find a reason.
So easy. I came up with every excuse you could imagine. I was ready to call it, but I'm like, no. Mom didn't raise a quitter. I'm not doing that. Like, it's not going to happen. So I'm like, I'm going to buck up. And I'm gonna go explore somewhere that I had not seen yet. And there was a gnarly storm coming in, so I'm like, I have to pull up by day 7. So that gave me a timeline. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna give it all I have for these last 2 days.
Because this is now day 6.
Day 6 will be the next day. This is day 5 when I'm just thinking about everything of like
you're
what's
back
gonna
at
happen.
camp at night.
Yes, and thank goodness for that little stove. I don't know what it is, but those stove just fills me with like cozy. It's
heat.
Something. It's something natural, I think. It must be. Because I think truly, like, having that stove, the spirit of just like, okay, I got a hot stove. I'm going to go sit by and fall asleep to that crackling. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that stove, I mean, it made me feel, I'm okay. I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to go explore. And Byron had told me, that elk hunter, he had told me, like, you know, hey, we've seen some bucks over in this basin. And then this comes key as well that I noticed, like I'm very observant. I try and notice even the smallest details because I think they matter. And I saw that little buck when I woke up after waking up under the rock. And I saw him because when I jumped him the night before, he was hightailing it down the basin. He was gone. He was going down the basin. And then when I woke up in the morning, he was at the top of the basin. I'm like, that's interesting. Like, I know their mule deer's feed patterns, but I had seen that with other deer too, and the smaller bucks, that the deer start their morning on the top of the basin, and then they slowly work all the way down bed and then work back up for the evening. And Byron had told me that he had seen some bucks down lower that night, like night 5. He said, I saw some bucks down lower. And he texted me that after I decided I was going to go to that basin. So I'm like, oh, perfect. So there's some deer there. Cool. Awesome. That night, I was going to try and go scout it. Like, I wasn't going to push into it, but I was just going to see if I could glass into it, just so I had an idea of what I was going into. I think I just left the pack, and it was just like my binos and my gun, and I just like...
And this was after gridding all day?
Yes.
On day 5.
This was after gridding. I'm like, I need to get up and go. I can't waste time.
So you made the decision once you got back to camp, got some food in you, and you're like, okay,
okay, buck up, dude.
Okay.
Like, figure it out. You can play the excuses or you can get up and go. And so I was like, okay, this night, there wasn't enough time to glass or anything. It was more so just getting an idea of what I was going to go into in the next morning. So I got in there, didn't see anything, but I'm like, okay. I got to where I wanted to get as the sun was setting. So I couldn't see anything. But I had an idea of what the trail looked like to get in there, the game trail, and what it looked like around there. So I'm like, okay, I got a good idea. So then I went back. It was a beautiful sunset too that helped nice. So that helped calm me down, and just like, okay, it's all good, man. Like, it's all good. You're here. You're here. Go make it happen. And I actually, my alarm didn't go off that next morning. So then I woke up at day 6. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? I decided to get up and not do the poor me thing, and my alarm doesn't go off. So now I wake up late, and I'm like, that sucks. But I get up, I'm like, I'm going to do it anyways. It's fine. Just go. And I'm running down this game trail. It's like on the top of the spine. And I'm moving quick, and I keep going through these timber cuts. I'm like, man, this would be a really good spot to jump a deer. Like, this just looks really good. And I round this corner, and all of a sudden it just explodes. The trees in front of me explode, and 2 bucks, this guy and a buddy and a doe, run out in front of me at 50 yards. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I throw up, and I'm just trying to get him to stop. And he does the boing, 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 stop. Turns his head and looks, shoot him there. And I heard impact because I have the suppressor, so I didn't deafen my ears with my 7 mag. I heard impact, saw impact. He jumped up and lurched like a hurt deer, and then ran sort of towards the tree. So then I Rambo it, and I'm like, I am not losing this deer. I'm not letting this happen again. So I start sprinting towards where he ran, and I get around this tree, and I see him standing there getting all wobbly. So I put my rifle up again, shoot him once in the neck, and he drops right there and was done. And the other buck was a stud buck too, and he just sort of looked around, and then they bounded off.
When they ran together like that,
yeah.
Did you, in your mind, you said that's the one I want, or
Yeah.
you just didn't care?
He was the bigger one.
Oh, he was the bigger
Yeah,
one.
he was the body wise. I didn't care
Oh.
about the horns. The body was way bigger. I'm like, that's a mature deer. I'm shooting him. And it all was a blur, and it was just like, oh yeah, that one looks
You just
mature.
know.
That you just could tell that's the deer. That's
Yep.
the one you want to shoot. I was gonna shoot the other one if the other one couldn't. It wasn't a matter if I wasn't gonna shoot him and only
Whichever
would shoot
one
him.
gave you a shot.
Whatever one gave me the opportunity, and luckily he was the one that gave me the opportunity. He drops, and I just I knew he was dead, but I was like, I want to shoot him again, but I didn't. I was like, I don't want to hurt any more meat. I know he's 100% dead this time. I'm looking at him right there, and then I just crumbled. I just hit the ground on my knees, just praising God, just it was ridiculous. I can't explain that feeling.
And how far did you shoot him from your camp?
He's 2 miles, 3 miles.
So you shot him on the way to your
onto
your
where
basin.
I was gonna hunt. Yeah, exactly. And he was just right in front of me. And that just showed not giving up, and not I could have walked away that next day. I could have gone home. I could have been poor me. Oh man, I'm never going back. That sucks.
When you look at it from the overall spectrum up until that point, it's you have to understand you missed a buck, you wounded a buck, you just spent one of the worst nights of your life in the mountains. You woke up late the next day when you said, I'm going to go. Those are all very realistic reasonings as to why people just throw in the white towel.
Absolutely. Is it okay if I share scripture? Because there was one
Dude, go for it.
Okay, awesome. There was scripture that I have on my tag holder, and it's Proverbs 16:3, and it's commit your actions to the Lord, and your plans will succeed. And I was just repeating that in my mind over and over and over again. And I was just I'm going to commit this no matter what I do. And also in 1 Thessalonians, I forget exactly what it is, but it's all things are possible through him. And that's where my strength comes from. And my physical strength, I did not have it. It was non-existent. It was not there. But something kicked in me where it was I connected, and I was okay, that's where my strength comes from. And I looked up, got my strength, and took it and went. And then he just blessed me and said, here you go. Here you go, man.
That's so cool.
Ridiculous. And oh man, the prayer afterwards over that buck went crazy. It was awesome. It was like, oh, it was so good.
I can only imagine.
Oh my, I
That's
can't explain that
incredible.
feeling. I mean, it was like I just sat there probably over an hour, just sitting there with my hand on him, just like looking around me. Like what just happened? And like, cause I kept asking myself that whole time, what was God trying to show me here? What was he trying to show me in this hunt? And it made no sense to me. It made no sense. I'm like, this makes no sense. Most of the time it never does with the stuff that he teaches us.
Yep.
But I was like, and he just showed me that like your circumstances, whatever they are, no matter what it is, keep your eyes fixed on them. And I did. And I that sunset was that thing for me. And it clicked to me. And my dad also said, like he was saying, look around you, man. You're in God's creation. Like, this is beautiful. Enjoy that. And I did. And I felt close. I felt more in rhythm with God after that, after I had lost in my mind of pour me. And then he, boom, right in front of you. And it's just like ridiculous. And then there's one other scripture that's really important. It's give thanks in all circumstances. I didn't want to give thanks that I missed that deer, that I hit that deer, that I couldn't walk barely, but I had to, and I did. And like, I'm so thankful that I did, because that was such a good opportunity to then strengthen not only my faith, but then also my hunting ability of like, okay, I can do that. That's cool. I can do that. Now I know that I can do that. That's cool. And it was such a cool opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, just to tag on to scripture, I mean, if you just read the book of Psalms, I mean, it's the book of David, right?
Yeah.
That David wrote. And it's like in one chapter, it's literally 2 chapters next to each other. One chapter, he's doing is complaining and whining. And the next one, it's all praise. But then at the end of the day, what I feel like some Christians today fail to understand is that regardless if you're whining, complaining to God, or you're worshiping Him, both forms are worship.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's something that people
Correct.
don't. They think that if they're complaining, they're just not doing the right thing. It's like,
Right.
no, if you're talking to Him, whether it's complaining or it's thanks, it's worship.
It is.
You
What
know?
fruit do you want to bear through that?
Exactly.
And complaining, quite frankly, is challenging Him, saying, you didn't give me good enough. It wasn't good enough what you gave me.
Yeah.
It wasn't good enough. But Romans 8:28 is, for we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to His purpose. Everything. That includes the bad things. That includes missing that deer. Was all working His glory through towards that.
Yeah.
And it just like that strengthened my faith so much, that trip. And also just like realizing, okay, I can sleep on a rock. I don't want to, but I could.
That's incredible.
You know. And yeah, it's all a choice. You can choose to do exactly what you're talking about. You can choose to complain, but that's a distraction from God's glory, which is right in front of you, which is everything. And I didn't need to shoot that deer, and I would have been happy, because I would have flipped around. I felt it. Like, I felt the Spirit, but He just blessed me with it, and it was cool. And now, luckily, I like that. Now He's working His way through that door. I can share that story.
What an incredible story, because like I said, those stories are the only stories you get when you're out there alone.
Exactly.
You could have had the same exact hunt play down.
Yes.
But if you just had someone else there, the depth of what you dealt with on that hunt is completely different.
Totally.
Because, like you said, there was nobody there to kind of alleviate some of the pressure you might have been putting on yourself.
Exactly.
Because when you have a buddy there, it's crazy how much just having the presence of somebody else there to help you out. But when it's solo, man, if you're on just a tumble, you're on a tumble.
It's hard for me too, because I'm a snowballer where like it gets bad where like I'm hard on myself. I'm very hard, and that's something I'm working on. But like I'm way too hard. So like when I miss that deer, it's bad. Like I'll be really bad, and I shouldn't do that. I know that, but I do. Thank God for those in-reaches that I can at least text, you know, and be like, hey man, I love you and I miss you. Hope you're doing well, right? That enough to hear, you know, your parents or your buddy to be like, hey man, I love you. Hope you're doing good. Have a good hunt. That gets me through, you know?
Yeah.
But I love not having service though. So I can't go on social media. I can't go on this. I can't go on that.
It's a distraction.
Complete distraction.
Yeah.
I hit this moment when I'm solo hunting, and this is why I need it every year. And I call it like sort of like it's, I guess, flow state sort of, but it's like the state of flow. And essentially like, you know, day to day, you'll have this voice in your head. I'll be like, okay, do this. Okay, I'm driving here. Okay, I'm doing this. Blah, blah, blah. But around day 3 of a solo hunt, when I don't talk with anyone, I hit this flow state where my mind goes silent and it is focused on the job at hand and everything around me and fully present of like that voice in the head disappears and it's quiet and it's peaceful and I'm finding a deer. I'm killing it. That's my goal.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. And I love that. Like that makes me who I am.
Yeah.
Truly. And when I'm up at 7,000, 8,000 feet, that's where I'm closest to God. That's where I hear His voice the most.
Physically and mentally.
Physically and mentally. Exactly. And like, there's nothing that compares to that. And that's why I'm just addicted to it. And again, I could go up and have that experience and not fill a tag. It does not matter. I don't care.
See, that in and of itself is something that I applaud because a lot of people put emphasis on the hunt, right?
Yeah.
But what I feel like some people fail to realize is like just having that mindset, which I would deem the right mindset, is already a failing point for some people.
Yeah.
They just simply approach it with a completely wrong mindset, right?
Yeah.
I applaud you because you're pretty young. And it usually takes people quite a bit of time before they figure that stuff out. But the fact that, I mean, you were, what, 20? Were you 21 when you took them?
I was.
Or were you 20?
I was 21. Yeah.
Okay, you were 21.
I'm 20. I'll be 22 in May.
Yeah, so you're pretty young, and you've already had that stuff figured out. Like, you're pretty wise for your age at that point. Because when I was 20, 21, I don't think I was anywhere close to that. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because, like, again, these are just kind of tying back to the podcast that Nate and I have done before, like just our expectations versus reality. Having the right mindset simply before you even embark on a hunt, it sets up the trajectory of where that hunt can be.
Absolutely.
You know? And you kind of touched on all of the nuggets of kind of like what goes on with solo hunting.
Yeah.
But now I want to kind of pick your brain about how you go about solo hunting because Nate and I, we do solo hunts. I wouldn't say we do it a lot, but Nate and I, we do eventually find time on our own where every single year we find a couple hunts where we do on our own. Totally. Now, not all of them are like crazy backcountry hunts. Some of them are just you're day hunting by yourself, but there's still a lot of shared elements, whether you're backcountry hunting or front country hunting.
Yeah.
So one of the most common things that comes with solo hunting is fear. A lot of people, and I'll be honest, it was me when I first started solo hunting too. It's like people just won't want to do it because they're scared. And whether they're scared of the unknown or a predator or getting lost or breaking an ankle or their satellite device goes out on them, like whatever it may be, how did you overcome that? Or was that ever even a barrier for you?
Oh, it was a big barrier. When I first started, it was a big barrier and something I was very, very nervous of. In full honest, and in a goofy way. I'll be fully honest. I'm scared of what's in the dark. I'm not scared of the dark. I'm scared of what's in the dark.
Valid.
Like, there is nothing that'll make all the hairs on my body stand up. Like when it's dark and I'm walking back to camp and I hear a twig break. Like we're racking the tent and we're running. Like we're out. Like, and that's just me goofing off. But like there were big hurdles mentally. Yes. That boils down to also just mentality of life. Also, like I can choose to be scared. I could. But I also can choose to trust, be bold, and like...
Yeah, and it just goes back to what I was saying earlier. You can find an excuse to be scared, or you can find a reason to not be scared, right?
Exactly.
And it sounds so simple, but until you're out there, parked in the truck by yourself, it's pitch black, and you'll be like, I got 4 miles to hike up in the dark.
It's scary, man. It is.
It's not as easy.
Another thing, too, is if you're solo and you deal with stuff where you're scared, take a stove.
My man,
because
I'm dead serious. Yes,
if you're by yourself and you've got a fire, you're not by yourself anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Or sure doesn't feel like you're by yourself as much.
I'd go one step further. You don't even need a stove, just a campfire.
True. Campfire crackling outside the tent's nice too.
A stove inside the walls of the tent, especially when other conditions are not favorable to your solo hunting. If it's not bluebird skies and nice sunsets and everything, and you've got the rain or you got the snow or the wind.
Wind is a big one.
These things that kind of will mentally exhaust you.
Totally.
Other, as parts of the hunt, and you can go inside at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about fires, but like whenever I'm out there, whether it's fishing or you're just camping or hunting, the moment that fire starts and that smoke starts to go,
it's just a creature
it does
comfort.
something to me at least, where it's like I miss this.
Yep, exactly.
And one of the biggest things is like I haven't really found myself in situations where I really had to like ride out a storm in a tent, but I know that there are some people who have done that. And if you have a stove, my cousin jokes about it. He's like, a fire or a stove is like a TV, right?
It is.
It's like if you're just laying in a tent riding out a storm, 8 hours is a long time to just lay there.
Oh man,
and doing nothing. But the moment you start stoking a stove, that time just goes by.
It goes right by. Remember I said I almost killed my dad? I took him out this year in Utah, and we got up there. As soon as we got up there, a storm rolled in, and we were stuck in tent for 24 hours. His first backcountry hunt ever. And we were stuck in the tent for 24 hours, and he wanted to kill me. He was just like, I want to go home, dude.
I can relate. I took my dad up to Alaska. And on day 3, we got stuck with no stove because Alaska, we were out in the tundra. We got stuck in a tent together for like 32 hours. And A stove, I think would have changed the game.
Big time. Yeah, you run out of things to talk about at that point. Like, it's my dad, we're tight, and that's our favorite time together, and we're out there goofing off. But, like, you start running out of things to talk about.
You do.
You start running out of battery on your battery packs, and it's just like, dude, 24 hours laying flat is rough. Because I don't even want to go out there. It's storming so hard, I don't want out there to go and relieve myself. Like, it's nasty out there, and I don't want to lose the heat. Like, it's nice and warm there. Like, there's creature comforts.
I guess we just solved it.
There it is.
And something else you mentioned, which I think used to be pretty counterintuitive to me, but to me makes a lot more sense now, is especially if you're solo, I feel like the more connection you have to the outside world, the harder it gets.
Totally.
So it's counterintuitive because you think, man, if I'm going to go solo, I at least want to have my cell phone with my LTE so that I can be texting or have that distraction. But as soon as you have that distraction, you are pulled away from the experience, and you're so much more aware that you're alone. Especially with the social media side of stuff.
Embracing the aloneness too. Like, there's a level of embrace of just I'm alone.
I feel like it goes to how do I deal with being alone?
Right.
And this is something that I've said multiple times on the podcast that I still very much struggle with is solo hunting past that mental point. These last couple of years, I've made those excuses at day 6, day 7, day 8 of the hunt and not been able to get past that hurdle. But I feel like if you have that connection and you're solo, think about putting yourself in a situation maybe for that next solo hunt where you don't have that that decision's made for you. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to stick my phone on airplane mode and not go. I'm going to be out there, and this is the reason I'm out there, and I'm going to figure out how to deal with it and embrace it and hopefully learn to enjoy it.
There's a certain level of instant gratification when you open your phone or you get a little buzz and someone texts you, or even if it's just a notification from Instagram or something, that pulls you away. It's true. And then makes it that much harder to then get back into the roll of things. That's why, when I hit that state of flow where it's just it goes silent, I want to stay in that. I want to text me I'm okay. Hey, how's it going? Hunt's going good. I'll do that. But anything else, it just pulls me away. And then that also pulls you away from focusing on what you're doing. And, but like you said, that mental game, it's a mental game. That's all it is. Have you watched Into the Wild, where that guy goes into Alaska? And he says, happiness is only real when shared. And that's true. It 100% is true. And I felt that when I'm out there, day 7, 8, where I'm I could really use a buddy right now. But there is just such a level that you get with solo hunting of you're quieter. You don't have to worry about someone else. I would hope you wouldn't be hunting with someone you'd be worried about. But at the same time, you still, what if they trip and fall or something?
Oh, we totally understand
decision
that.
Making, hey, should we go hunt over here? Should we go hunt over here? You get to make those decisions. That is the game of solo hunting, is mental fortitude.
Your motivations just have to outweigh what you're scared of.
Exactly.
That's all it is. That's the biggest hurdle. And we talked about in our solo hunting podcast, where if you really want to get over that fear, you just got to spend more time out there alone.
Exactly.
That's the only way you're going to learn.
That's all it took. In the beginning, it sucked. I hated sleeping in the tent at night. It was terrifying. Absolutely. Even with someone. It took me a while, but there's no replacement for time in the field and going and doing it. Even if, quite frankly, it's near your house, right? And you go out to a public park or something, and not city park, but you go out to some forest land or something.
There's some real fear there then.
That's a whole nother podcast. But even something simple like that. But it just took time, just in doing it over and over and over again, and realizing that most of the things that I'm worried about, they want to be farther away from me than I am from them.
Yeah.
I never was too worried about my equipment failing or anything like that. I always knew that I'll just go to the truck. End of the day, I'll just go to my truck. It's okay.
The reason why I bring up fear is because I think that's literally rule number 1, or the first step when it comes to solo hunting. It's
Big
if
time.
you can't get past that mental hurdle, I don't care what rifle you have, what truck you drive, what tag you have, you're not out there. You obviously got past that hurdle at some point in time, right? What was the next step for you? Was it, this is the hunt I want to do? Or was it just I just have this really cool idea and I just want to go test my idea?
It's a pure passion is what
Pure
I call
passion?
it. It's just pure. It gets in my blood.
Okay.
It's I live and breathe. There's not a day that goes by I don't think about it.
Again, you're really focused on the high country, right?
Yeah, it's high country. That's where my piece is.
So I guess we'll kind of pick your brain here. It's
Totally.
when you have no idea about this area.
Yeah.
And you're saying, I'm after this a certain type of buck that lives in a certain type of habitat.
Yeah.
What are some of the most key features, like first things that kind of scream at you when you're on X or whatever?
I'll touch on one other thing with that pure passion too, with that backcountry hunting. I long for it. Like that's what I want to go do. If I have a free weekend, that's what I'm going to go do. And that's truly like also there are some people that aren't meant to solo hunt, and that's just plain and simple, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But truly, like also with part of it is like you got to want it. You got to want to go do it. Like my dad, I love him to death, and it's totally fine. He's just like, yeah, I'm just not at this point in my life, I'm not a backcountry hunter. Like I would prefer to sleep in a cot or something, which is totally fine. But like me, I want it. I want to go find my desire is to go find a buck that's never seen a human before.
Yeah.
If it has, it's been like maybe one or two. I love where it takes you. Like it takes you in the craziest places ever, which can be dangerous sometimes because I'll end up going one more ridge and one more ridge and more, and and sleep under a rock. But like where it brings you, and then like finding these deer that are thriving in this crazy climate where it's just cliffs and stuff, and then beating them at their own game is just addicting. Yeah. It's just, and even not even pulling the trigger, just seeing them.
So I feel like before you even find a spot, to you, there's a criteria of where like, I just want to be in the craziest places.
Yeah.
And so when you already just start with that mindset, you already
Puts you in the
eliminate
game.
most of the areas.
I want to go step on a place no one's ever stepped before. And that's just hunting or not. That sounds awesome to me. Like, it's just cool.
I feel like the Idaho story that you told here is such a good example because I would argue most, if not all hunters, have been in that spot you were in that like gas station parking lot where either plan A or plan B didn't work out.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't quite have that plan C. You have your pins on Onyx and you made a decision. And so I think kind of just figuring out, you mentioned a couple things. You mentioned at one point, putting in 20-mile days. So you're covering a lot of country because you're in big country where, all these basins look good. You mentioned that you're a details guy. Like you're trying to pay attention to like this specific behavior. And so like putting that stuff together from like sitting by yourself, kind of with that indecision with 20 different pins on Onyx in a gas station parking lot, like what do I do? And then committing to a spot.
Right. You
which
commit,
can be so difficult with Onyx nowadays, especially because you get out there and then you get to what you can see.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what else is out there?
That was a high buck hunt that I did in 23 where, I spent 8 days back there. Didn't see a single deer for 8 days and then packed out 20 miles. It was awful. And then went in that next morning to a new spot and jumped a buck, shot him.
Yeah.
My mindset is always like, I want to find a place that looks like I don't want to go there. You don't think anyone in their right mind, including myself, would want to go to? That's probably where I got to go. And like we go places where I've almost snapped my leg before. Like it's not safe. And there's a certain level to that where we're getting, as I get older, I'm realizing like, is this really worth it? Like there are some places where it's like it's bad or it's genuine.
I think like you said,
dangerous.
if you've never gone on a hunt where as you're hiking in there and you're not like double thinking like what you're doing.
What am I doing?
Sometimes I feel like you're not pushing yourself far enough because the year where I shot that buck that's mounted next to my bull elk, that 4x4, the one I shot in Washington, I remember that day before I shot him. I shot him like last light, but throughout the day, I'm hunting cliff country.
Right.
And I'm literally like looking way down at the bottom, like, what am I doing here? Like, if I shot a deer down there, there's no way of getting him out.
Exactly.
But it's like, that type of hunt that I feel like it either makes or breaks you.
Totally.
Because it's not for everybody. Let's just be honest. It's not for everybody. But if it is for you and you do have that desire within yourself to be like, that's the hunt I'm after, there's already a certain experience that you're trying to create in your mind. And then really at the end of the day, you're just trying to put it into real life.
When I think or first get a tag, I already have the buck I want to shoot image in my brain, right? Like, then that fuels the fire.
I feel like that's a disease we all deal with.
Oh, it's so bad. Yeah. But then also secondly, like, if you're really willing and you want to do it, we humans are so much more capable than they give themselves credit. Like there are things that I have done that I was like, there is no way I'm going to do this. And there are things that I've seen people that are like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it. And they do it. Like I'm normally like around 165. When I'm in the backcountry, I'll lose like 10 pounds because just calorie deficit.
And you're a tall guy.
And I'm a tall,
you don't have a lot to lose.
So I'll be like 155 in the backcountry after 7 days, and I'll have to throw on a 140-pound pack and hike 10 miles.
Yep.
How am I supposed to do that? Like but it's possible if you're driven. And again, same thing. Like he is the one who I get my strength from at the same time. Like that is a big part into me. But like truly, I think humans are a lot more capable than they give themselves credit. No.
We're all basically skinny guys.
We're
here.
skinny, tall dudes, man.
Yeah.
We're tall drinks of water.
And we're doing, I would say, some of the upper end type of hunts.
Yeah,
I'd say.
It's very interesting, too, because with solo hunting, a lot of times you get both ends of the spectrum of difficulty. Like, prior to the harvest, you deal with this mental difficulty, all of the, like, mental, emotional hurdles, and a lot of times physical. I mean, like, you're physically pushing yourself. But then after the harvest, if you notch that tag, you're doing everything you just did with a whole animal on your back by yourself.
Backwards.
And that, I feel like, is where I have found how capable I am physically. I mean, it sounds like you approach it the same way. I have never judged an animal, like looking for an animal or going somewhere, thinking about the pack out. Like, you hear a lot of guys talk about, like, not going somewhere because their barrier to entry is that they wouldn't want to pack an elk out of there.
Right.
You know, they don't want to drop down into the hole.
Sounds
they don't want to do what it is. I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it sounds awesome to me, but I don't think about that.
Right.
I don't think about the fact if I'm by myself and I shoot an elk and I have to take 4 trips, that's going to add up to 15,000 feet of elevation. I don't do that math, and I deal with it, and that over the years that I've hunted has been the point on the physical side of that spectrum where I've found, and most of it usually is in the context of high country because that's the most aggressive country.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're just going to deal with it if it comes.
We're going to figure it out.
Yeah, that's one of the, it's one of those things where it's like you have what looks good or bad on paper, and then you have the reality of it. Because, like, if you told me last year that, oh, you have an opportunity to go shoot 3 bulls 4.5 miles down in a hole.
So awesome.
Down like 25, almost 3,000 vertical feet. I would be like, heck no. Like, are you crazy? 3 elk in the hole like that? But then guess what? When we saw those elk, that herd, there was no question.
No question.
It was just like, how do we actually get there? Right? And so it's like, it's one of those things where, and I get accused of it too. I had people who think I fake my solo hunts. They say like, oh, this guy has a buddy with him that's just behind the camera. I'm like, first off, what's the point of that?
Why would I do that?
Why would I waste my time? And why would I put so much effort hiding someone behind a camera?
Right.
And then there are people where I think it comes from simply a lack of experience, right? To people, when they see you do something that they have never done and they think that they cannot do it, they undergo this idea that it's impossible.
Right.
Right? Like, again, when I shot that mule deer buck, I had people accusing me of leaving meat behind.
Right.
And I'm like,
nope.
what do you want me to do? Like, how am I supposed to defend such a blatant, like, accusation or a false or a blatant false accusation?
At that point, no matter what you say, they're going to listen to.
But then that's what I'm saying, because it's like that right there, back to the point we're making, is like that is such a barrier to so many people.
It's true.
Because to them, they don't think that they can do it, and so they just don't ever try to break that barrier.
It's mentally and it's physically.
Yeah.
But the physical, I would say the mental challenge and strength that it takes is harder to achieve than the physical.
100%.
The physical is whatever. You're going to figure it out.
With it, yeah.
You're going to figure it out.
The one caveat I will say, especially like for people that are entering into this, is in the context of this, always think about if you can get all your meat out safe.
Totally.
Like without it spoiling.
Yep.
You know, I'm talking about like your September archery elk hunts. Like, we're not talking about being stupid with like meat spoilage, but we're talking about like the physical effort to get that meat out.
Right.
If you can get over the mental part to notching the tag by yourself, I guarantee you that you can get over the physical.
Figure it out.
The mentality that it takes to complete that physical portion, like your body's capable, it's going to be your mind that needs to take over. Yeah.
And then it also plays into it too that your physical is then also limited by your mental as well. Yeah. If your mind's telling you can, you're going to be able to do it. If your mind's telling you can't, you're not going to be able to. So it all sort of revolves around that mental game. And it's hard.
You mentally quit way before you can physically quit.
Oh my gosh,
because
so far.
I remember even hiking back to that story of that buck. I remember going up that mountain. I was like, man, maybe I dropped that pin a little too far.
Right,
Like, maybe I should just set up camp here and I'll hoof the rest of the day, like on a day hunt or something.
Right.
But once you get up there, it's like, oh, it wasn't that bad.
That
what I was imagining, right?
Right.
And the reason why we're emphasizing so much about just like these hurdles is because these are probably the most important aspects when it comes to solo hunting.
Right.
If you can't get over your fear of being alone and you can't get over that mental mindset of what your actual limitations are, the rest of what could happen on the hunt doesn't really matter. Okay, I don't care what animal lives in that basin. I don't care how many deer you see in that basin. If you can't get over this idea of being there alone and being willing to get into that spot, it's all void.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. 100%.
Here's a question I have for you. Most of us fall victim to the deception of onyx topo lines.
Yeah.
We scroll through, a whole
Yeah.
Frank Church wilderness,
Yep.
a whole, Glacier Peak wilderness for a
entirety of
backpacking
Wyoming,
trip, the entirety
everything.
of Wyoming,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, basin to basin to basin.
That
we
looks
could check.
great.
Yeah, and then you get out there and you realize how big this country is.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I mean, that's exaggeration. I mean, I'm even talking about within a drainage. You realize what 1,400 feet to the bottom and 1,400 feet to the other side in a burn really is once you're out there. A lot of people will drop pins and then they'll modify their plans, especially in the context of high country.
Yeah.
With topo lines, I'm not talking about like hard barriers like cliffs and things that you actually can't get past. I'm talking about you get out there and it's way bigger.
Totally.
How do you kind of approach that? I understand the more you do it, the more you realize and the more you get used to that. But kind of as you started doing that and you get out there and you're like, oh man, I do want to see that this basin looks good, but this is way more of a commit than I thought. Are you just kind of like a switch the mind off and go do that kind of guy, or are you like, let's look around and see what we're at in this environment and like what are we gonna do here?
We this is me just being goofy, but it's like pain's temporary, glory's forever. And but totally joking. But like it's it more so is like once I set my mind to I'm going back there. And if I got to stop because the sun's going down and pick it up tomorrow, I'll do that. It's not fun, but I'll do it. But I mean, there have been times where I'll get in somewhere and it looks gorgeous on maps. And then you get in there and it's like, this isn't. And then it's just like improvise, adapt, overcome. So start looking around. Where can I go that does look good now that I'm looking at it? Yeah. And sometimes you got to pull an all stop and turn around because it's not the spot. Sometimes it's just improvising. Because like in the grand scheme of things, if you pick out a good spot that looks pretty good and maybe there's not a spot there, somewhere around there's probably going to be at least some deer that you can try and find that might look good.
Yeah. Do you have any like hard rules that you keep yourself to? So like for instance, our buddy Austin Harris, not your buddy Austin, but Austin Harris has a pretty fast rule of it's either 3 or 4 prime times. In his September archery hunting. If he goes in somewhere, and we're talking September archery when deer are out moving, not October or anything else, but he's like, if I go in here and I spend my 3 prime times and that's not it, I'm jumping ship and going. I don't care. Do you kind of have like, because you mentioned your one 2023 hunt where you spent a week in that spot and never saw a deer. I've done that personally. I've spent 5-6 days in a spot and not seen a deer. I don't necessarily have like that hard and fast rule, but I find that guys that are consistent have some of these things that they do that they maybe realize or don't, where they're like, this is when I'm changing my game plan.
It's about 3. Like, he's pretty spot on with that. Like, I follow that pretty tightly, where if I do 3, like, I'll do a morning, afternoon, and then a morning, and you don't see a single thing, and you think it looks great. You got to start spending your time somewhere else, is normally what I try and do with that one, where in 2023 I got snowed in, so I couldn't leave. So that was a different story, but I was still pretty novice at that as well, and just kept thinking that there was going to be deer because it looked so good, but there wasn't. But I have taken that now where it's like, I'll do a morning, or evening, morning, evening, and if there's nothing, then there are other places to spend your time.
That's a good general rule of thumb. And one of the main reasons why I would operate under something like that is if I'm hunting an area that I haven't scouted.
Right.
I would operate under that.
Totally.
But if I'm hunting an area where I'm like, I know there's a buck that I'm after that lives in here.
Exactly.
You might want to spend a little bit more time, right? So with you,
totally.
To pivot back a little bit, how much time do you actually spend like scouting for a particular buck? Because like Austin, who we had on last week, like he's pretty set by like August, like he knows his target bucks.
And same with Brock. I mean, that's kind of
and so like
those guys are dedicated.
So when a lot of times when they go into a spot, they're not blindly going to a spot. They've already laid eyes in the spot. They usually have a very good idea of what lives in their area. And so like we always joke with Austin, like those bucks are dead before the season starts, right?
Yeah.
But with you, do you go that far in terms of like scouting to the point where it's like, I know there's a buck here I'm after, or do you most of the time just kind of say drop the pin and I'm just off?
There is one spot we go every year where we hunt deer every year, and every year we've doubled that we've gone there, so we know there are deer in there. Every time I go up and scout every summer and see good deer numbers up there, and I just sort of go up there just to get an idea of what's around. But other than that, I personally I love going out and seeing new areas. And maybe it might be like a mile from where I hunted last year or something like that. I get great joy out of going somewhere new and seeing a new basin and then getting to pattern those deer, chase those deer, figure them out. That is more fun to me. Like I love going to the same spot over and over again, but there is a certain level, like that feeling of just in a new spot is so hard to beat.
See, this is really cool because kind of the approach to mule deer hunting, which is probably overall the more popular approach, I feel like, is our Brock and our Austin that we were talking about, where these guys talk about scouting them and kind of patterning them, especially for early season deer, or once they kind of hole up into the October before they really start opening up for the rut. And we really hammered that home with them. But also, that's not the only way.
There's another way.
And it's also not feasible for everybody to get up and scout places in the summer. Like you were talking about, you've got a job that is highest in the summer. You're working crazy hours, and maybe you get up to scout, maybe not. But there's also another way where you put your work in during the season, and
straight off.
You have to put your work in some point, right? And I'm not saying that you guys work hard in the early season and don't work during season,
right?
But you're talking about going and doing, 10, 15, 20-mile days, covering your country during season, trying to find these animals. So there is a way to hunt and be successful with these big, mature mule deer where you're putting the work in when you have the time to hunt.
Yeah.
And you're not necessarily worried about, like, I've got 3, 4, 5 years of game cam footage here.
Right, exactly.
I'm up here every other weekend scouting these animals for the summer.
I know
I'm
the
doing
genetics.
this here. Exactly. And so that's something that's really cool to me because that shows a completely different, in my mind, that's a completely different approach to the mule deer hunt.
Yeah.
And it's a way to still be consistent with mature animals.
There's a style of mule deer hunting that, it's not popular, but that's what it is like you hunt this style in a new spot, and if you hunt that way, you'll be successful. And that is what me and Austin have done. And then when I go on solo hunts, my mindset is like, okay, I'm going to hunt this certain way, knowing that there is a good chance if I keep this mentality, if I hunt this way, that I'll find a deer. And normally, because of the crazy places that I go to that no one else would ever go to, I find stuff that no one's ever seen. Is what has tended to happen. I'll go crazy places.
I brought that up because I think there's a pretty big distinction between the two types of hunts that we talk about.
Yeah.
And Austin breaks it down best. He's like, sometimes he's hunting a deer, sometimes he's just hunting deer. Most of my hunts, I would say, I don't really think I've ever gone in on a hunt saying that that's my target buck.
Right.
I don't think I've ever done that for a deer in my life.
I haven't either.
Not with mule deer.
Not mule deer.
I mean,
or I've done it with whitetail, but I can never say I've done it with mule deer.
Yeah, like to me, like part of it has to do with the fact that I like sometimes being in areas where I have no idea what's around.
My favorite part.
To like glass up an animal for the first time in your life with a rifle in your hand, like that type of excitement is awesome to me. Like I don't want to go be like, oh yeah, I already saw that buck.
Right there with you. Exactly. Because then that takes some of the excitement out of it as well.
Now, I'm not saying that there's necessarily anything wrong with having a pre-targeted buck. Like if anything, I feel like that's
I wish I could do that.
I feel like that's the best way to go about it if you want to actually up your odds during season to kill an animal, right? But to me, as of right now, like I find more enjoyment in just going on a hunt where I don't know anything about the area. I just probably know that there's deer around, but I don't know exactly like what caliber of deer live in the area.
Couldn't agree more with you.
And it's, again, my distinction is it's two completely different mindsets, two completely different styles. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but I think it's a very big distinction I want to make to the people who haven't caught on with it, because how you approach one hunt versus the other is two completely different ways.
It's true.
Another interesting thing is kind of saying what you're saying from a different angle, but like both sides have this positive and negative effect, right?
Totally.
If you're hunting a buck, you've been out there before and you realize how big that country is. And on one end, you can be in this country where you're like, I know there is this deer in this country. On the other end, once you've been out there and you're looking at the size of this country and there's a deer that you know in this country, or there's been a bachelor group, so maybe there's 3 or 4 bucks, that can be incredibly daunting. On the other side, like you're saying, the unknown is if you're going to this area, you deal with that big country, but you're like, you don't know what's out there.
There could be $20 in
And
there.
that's so exciting.
There could be 20
to
bucks.
see that for the first time.
There could be 0.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the roll of the dice that you take. There could be absolutely nothing there, or you could see 1, or you could see 20.
And so that's generally, like you said, you usually hunt Washington every year. You usually try to throw in another state every year. So you usually got couple backcountry in like Utah, right? We're not driving down to Utah every other day. Like your time down there is in season.
Exactly.
Is that right?
And that's yeah, exactly. I wish I could get more time off in the summer to go scout, but like I dedicate more time during the season where like I'm going to hunt the whole season and I'm going to make it happen where I'm hunting the whole season. So then part of that scouting is happening while I'm there. But yeah, no, it's normally like I'm going to be there for this long. I'm going to be there the whole season and I'm going to figure out while I'm there. Yeah. And like in Utah and stuff, it's like I can't drive down to Utah and next week and be there for a day and then drive home. That's 14 hours, that's however long it is. So a lot of time I do dedicate is that dedicated time during the season. And again, if you just have that mentality and that hunting style where it's like you're not going to stop and it's like I'm going to drive through the night, I'm going to use every ounce of daylight and sunset that I have, then you're probably going to turn up deer most of the time if it's, depending on the situation.
And so that's like a lot of the stuff that goes on before you even get on the hunt.
Totally.
Right? These are things
preparing
that
your mind
you're preparing for.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about on the hunt.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're a pretty skinny dude.
Yeah.
How do you muster up the courage to put on an 80-pound pack and start just hoofing up the mountain and sometimes off trail?
It's all off trail most of it.
Through some nasty terrain and then get to your camp. And then you start from your camp and go even deeper in.
Yeah.
And then in some cases kill an animal, sometimes down in a hole.
Yeah.
Get the animal out by yourself, back to camp, and then haul all your camp on top of the animal back to the truck. Because I'll be first to admit, when I find myself in those situations every single year, or when I'm lucky enough, sometimes I question myself. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like,
it's because I love it.
I'm not going to lie. You seem like a guy that finds yourself very frequently in deadfall and matchstick timber.
Too often than I care to admit.
You just seem like you pick those places.
Yeah, unfortunately. So yes, I just love it. I'm eager to go pick up my pack when I get to go do it next. Like I'm so excited for that moment. And it's like that song. It hurts so good. It feels so good, but it hurts so bad.
Yeah, I say that as like I kind of joked about it. I said it in a demeanor where it's almost like comedic, but in the moment, like I actually enjoy it.
Totally. And I'm with you.
Yes, I am physically tired. Like my legs are burning, but in the back of my mind, it's like I enjoy this. Like I live for this.
Yes, and that meat tastes so good when you get back to the truck. When you put that much sweat equity into it.
So with that said, like just a little pivot here. Like, do you do any like off-season training at all?
The most I'll do is I run. I'm a big runner. So like I'll run like a mile before work in the morning, or I'll run. Recently, I've been doing more long distance, but that's all I do. You don't need some. At least for me, I don't need some training program.
You focus a lot more on endurance and legs.
And then every now and then I'll throw on a sandbag in the pack and I'll go hike up a hill or something, up and down and up and down and up and down. But no, it's mostly I just run. And the years that I've run more, I have felt way better in the mountains. But truly, it's so hard to prepare. There's no way to prepare a 140-pound pack out.
There's no way to make it easy.
No way to make that easy.
Yeah.
It's just you got to embrace the suck and just take it all the way. But at the end of the day, don't get me wrong. When I'm doing it, I'm like, what am I doing? This sucks. Oh my gosh. And I'm making the most awful noises ever. But then I'll get to the truck and about 5 minutes after the pack's off my back, I'm like, let's go do that again. Yeah. Let's go.
This is one of the phenomena of, I would say, and specifically with hunting, high country hunting. Mm-hmm. Like my buddy Tanner and I did this hunt in Oregon last year that we did in 2023 together, where we saw this big deer. And we talked about this a little bit in our expectations podcast that we did a couple weeks ago, but our expectations were off and we got spanked.
Right.
And by day 7 on that hunt, we were like, we're never doing this hunt again.
Yeah.
And about 4 days later, we had one of those coincidences where you send each other a text at the same time.
Yeah.
And at the exact same time, it was like, man, should we do this again next year? And like something happens in your mind. And that was a hunt where we spent 7 days. We saw one doe. I mean, it was as hard of a hunt as physically as you could do, as mentally as you could do. But there's something that I think if you're there, not for the tag filling, and I know that it's kind of a cliche, and it's real hardcore hunters get touchy about the subject of talking about a successful hunt without having a tag punched. But if you view the hunts in that way, for the experience and for kind of this mental hardening, this physical hardening, and kind of your development as a character of a person, it brings you back.
Totally.
Every single year.
Every single time. And it's, just where you are, the places it brings me is like, and I'll just look around and you just can't help but smile. It's just like, look where I am right now.
Yeah. And
this is ridiculous.
I think it all boils down to the idea of like what you're what experience you're trying to get.
Totally.
Like to you, when you go out, you're not blindly going out because someone told you to go do it. It's like there's a certain thing that you're chasing, whether it's a goal or an experience or whatever it may be.
I feel called to go out there.
So when you go out there, like you have all this criteria outside of just whatever you're shooting that you're trying to also meet.
Right.
And so like when you put it at the end of the day, it's like filling your tag is one avenue of that hunt.
Yeah.
The other list is way bigger, and a lot of times it has more weight on how it's going to affect you. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why you're able to push through these hunts. Because like I said, man, like when you talk about a 7-day hunt in absolutely brutal country, I hunt with a lot of people every year. I can tell you, most people don't make it to past day 4.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
My dad's that person.
Yeah.
Okay. My dad's like, dude, you guys went out for, like, he'll see me upload one film where me and I were up in the high country for like 7 days, right?
Right.
He's like, wow, that looks really fun. And I'm like, you
Exactly.
watch 7 days in 1 hour.
In 1 hour.
And I showed you all the highlights, and you didn't even have to get off your couch.
Exactly.
You didn't even have to breathe hard once. Like, you knew nothing about that hunt other than what I put on the screen.
I have one film too. It was a solo hunt, and I put it out there for my friend's family. And there was that same deal. They're like, "Wow, that looks so cool." And my dad's like, "I want to do that with you." I'm like, "No, you don't. No, you don't, man. It was awful."
Yeah,
but it's like
it's so different. And the reason why I just bring it up is because it's not to say that they're weak or like they're bad. It's just like they're chasing a different type of experience than you are after.
Totally.
Right? Like not every hunt that I go on in a year is always going to be 10 miles in the backcountry.
Right.
Sometimes there's a hunt where I'm like, there's a small piece of property over there that I just want to go out and see what's over there.
Yep.
And it's like you hike like 400 yards from the car.
And you're right. Exactly.
But then there's a certain experience that I have associated with that hunt that I'm after, right? So depending on what hunt you're after, the criteria changes. But like here, we're so focused on your high country, your backcountry stuff that all we're trying to do here is we're trying to highlight what it takes for someone to oftentimes accomplish that hunt.
Yeah.
Because if you had to you had to put a tier list to it. The high country and the backcountry stuff is pretty high up on the list.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because we were talking about this before the podcast. High country or backcountry has become such a buzzword or buzz phrase, especially like with YouTube and with social media over the last handful of years, 5-10 years, that it's like in its own category as far as like people talking about. You throw in high country and people are like, oh, okay.
If you search up high country mule deer hunt versus mule deer hunt, that's different results.
Absolutely.
Totally.
You just don't see, even like you were saying, like our Washington high buck films that we have, right, where in 2021 where I filled a tag, in 2022 where we didn't fill a tag, those are long films for YouTube, right? One's an hour, one's 2 like hour and a half parts for over 7 days. And even that does not show the experience at all. And it's just something that's not talked about because they're thinking about Idaho and mule deer everywhere or Wyoming, and it's just not, it's not communicated what the experiences that you go through is like you said, developing your character and your faith out there in the field and what happens there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to learn stuff about yourself, go on a backcountry mule deer hunt.
You'll
learn a lot about yourself.
Because when you're out there by yourself, you can't just skip a scene from being at the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain.
No,
it's the whole way.
You got to go through the whole thing yourself.
Every step.
And it kind of bums me out because even like Nate said, like I try my best to make my films pretty like straight to the point.
Yeah.
I really don't like to like lag my videos, but they're still an hour long sometimes.
Sure.
And an hour is a long time.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel bad to have people sit through an hour film, but I'm like, that's just the best I could do without feeling like I skimped out on any particular important aspects of the hunt. And it's funny because most of the important conversations that you have and some of the like pivotal moments on the hunt happen off camera.
Yeah, the film's just a scratch of the surface. That's it.
Something that comes to mind with this is with 2022 High Buck. We've told the story of SOS Basin on the podcast before. It's completely skipped through in that film. And this was like, when I think of that year of hunting, because we didn't fill a tag on that hunt, this is like what I think of is between part 1 and part 2 of that film, we get lost from each other. We get separated. We think each other's hurt, whatever. You go through those whole mental gymnastics of when you're hunting with a partner. And then we got back together that night. And I remember we had prayed together that night. And we were sitting there way later than we should have, for being on a hunt and being exhausted, looking up at just a September night sky.
Yep.
And looking at the stars and just like in awe when I think of that hunt, like I don't think of that deer that we saw. I don't think of the bear that you wounded. I don't think of any of this other stuff. Like that's what I think of. And I think just for the guys that like maybe are getting into this, I really feel like a lot of times what you see with this like buzz phrase of high country is such a misrepresentation. They think of highlight reel.
Change your life out there.
And it's you can have a good hunt and you can see some really cool animals obviously like you do. You can get into that. But it's almost on a different plane. Like the actual like pulling the trigger on the animal is a completely different story than what 99% of the experience that you have in the high country
just
is.
existing out there.
Like it does exist, and that is a cool part of it. But don't go out there just like looking for like I'm going to the high country to like find these big animals out in the wide open and pull the trigger, because you may see lots of animals, you may see a mature animal, depending on where you're hunting and what state and all this stuff. But like go out there open to that experience of everything else that you don't know about.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the high country, I think people love to associate the high country with big deer. And to a certain extent, that's true. A lot. You do see that a good handful of good deer come out of the high country. Absolutely. Most of the time, the guys hunting the high country aren't coming out with anything. Most of the time, they don't even lay eyes on a buck, right? But it's like the idea of the highlights and what pops out to them. But to find, from my experience, it's really hard to find a big mature buck in the high country. Yeah. It's really hard. Is it doable? Absolutely. But when I think high country back then, before I did it, it was always like, oh, high country means big deer. Today, when I think high country, I just think of a week-long adventure.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just like, if we go out there and we shoot a buck, like, dude, that's awesome.
Exactly.
But like, I don't go out on a high country hunt now expecting to come out with a 180.
Right.
It's not even like, sometimes the whatever deer I'm trying to kill isn't even part of the planning stages when I'm saying high country this or high country that.
That's part of it. Cool.
And maybe it's just because I'm a bad hunter and I don't kill big bucks. So it's like, it's completely irrelevant to my planning stages. But I would like to say that I have a very normal experience to what most people are experiencing when they go on a high country deer hunt.
Totally. Yeah. And I do think that there are bucks that are bigger that are held out there in the deepest, darkest corners. Like all the big bucks that I've shot, they've been in like, when you look at that basin, you go, that's where big bucks go to die. Like, that's where they go to curl up and die in a bed. Like, no one in their right mind is going to be back there, and that's all where they have been. So I do think I think it's rare, and, I've been blessed enough to come across a few of them. But, like, truly, in those little nooks, like, I swear there's deer out there that, like, truly haven't seen humans. And there are places that exist out there where they can winter, where they don't have to go down into the valley. They don't have to go down in the town. There's a valley that's low enough in the middle of nowhere where they can go and they can hide.
Yep.
And you'll never see them, ever. And then, staying hard on your glass and staying consistent with it.
At the end of the day, it sounds like your game plan is so simple. But simple doesn't mean easy.
Right.
Your game plan is find the deepest, nastiest, steepest, most wicked place you can on the map. Like you said, most of the time there's no trail, so just find a way to get in there.
It's just figure it out. Like, sure, there might be a little like sister trail you can get on and then hike a mile and then hop off. But like, it's just figure it out. Like, pick somewhere and figure out how to get in there. And access is going to be hard. Just figure out how to get in there. And that's a double-edged sword too, right? Because you can find yourself way the heck back there, and there's no deer. Like, that was my 23. I was 20 miles back there, and there was not a single deer ever to be found. And then I go a few miles in on that next one, and there's deer right there. So there is a level of, riding that line of craziness of where you're going.
But you have to be willing to ride that line.
Totally.
And know that you're not going to hit the nail on the head every time.
Exactly.
You might think it happens. You might look at someone like, this is a great example right here. You might be watching this podcast and see, man, 24, 25, 2024, 2025, 2025. Every time this guy goes out and hunts, he just gets into deer and shoots a big deer. A single 8-day trip or a single 7-day trip during a high country where you don't see a deer, like, that's enough right there to end it for most people.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Like, you could have easily walked out of the hunt without him.
Easy.
Right?
Easily.
But because you went out with him, all of a sudden people associate, 8-day hunt, high country hunt, successful.
It's truly that mindset. Like, it's that, like, truly, you walk in there with that mindset of, I don't need to shoot a deer, and I'm going to stick it out no matter what happens, and I'm just going to hold strong. and you get past that barrier, because everyone hits it. Even if you're with someone, you're going to hit a barrier, and you just stay with that mindset of it's okay. Like I'm just here for a good time. Like that's what we said with this deer. Like we were there and we doubled up on the second day, and it was, I'm just here for a good time, man. Like we're just here for a good time, and the rest, it comes naturally. Because if you are too, like, there comes a level of hyper fixation and focus on, I need to kill deer, where then you start having the opposite effect. You start making mistakes, you see less deer, and you get too caught up in it. And I've found more so when you're just like, okay, I'm just here to have a good time, I'm just here to be in it. That's when I tend to see more deer. Like if I hyper fixate on it and I put too much pressure on myself, like early season when I haven't killed anything and I put too pressure on myself, it can get also dangerous too, because you start making bad decisions. You start stepping in the wrong spot. And when you're hunting in crazy places like I am, like you're one step away from calling SOS. Like it's bad.
Yeah,
like, you got to be careful.
That's one thing as I have matured over the years is like nowadays when I go on a hunt, I have zero pressure on my shoulders.
Totally.
Now, because I have just found that I hunt better when I'm not putting so much pressure on myself, right? Like, oh, you got to go in there, you got to fill a tag, you know? And sometimes, I'm not going to lie, like, if I have a really rough start to a season, there's always that, like, you know, the thoughts in the back of your mind kind of like, oh, man, like, you're really not having a good season, right? But you have to be conscious enough to, like, catch yourself on that. Like, dude, take a step back because, like you said, when you start getting too caught up in the idea of, like, I got to shoot something, and let's say you do find an animal, right? Yeah. You don't start to pick that stock per se in the right mindset.
Are you in it for the right reasons?
Exactly. A lot of times you have an animal and you're so desperate to go kill him, you're going to do whatever the shortest route is to go kill that animal.
Exactly. You're not going to be methodical.
But the shortest route is not the best way to go about it, right?
And there's so much pressure this day and age, which is a whole nother podcast again, but with social media, right? Like when I was younger and I was fresh out of high school, it was like, I want to kill the biggest buck. I want to look cool. And I quickly outgrew that. Yeah. You know, and that's also like, I could have gone out there and like blasted this everywhere and sponsor me. It's not what it's for, man. Yeah. That's like, then you're in that for the wrong reasons, right? And then you have that unneeded pressure. And like we tried to make films for a while, and it's a passion. We love it, but it's also, it came to a point where it's like, that's too much pressure. Now it's taking the passion out of it. Yeah. And I don't like that because that's the time to be out there, and that crafts you into who you are. And when that starts to become something where it's like, I'm doing it to see if other people like the buck that I shot, it's the wrong reasons. So that's why we pulled an all stop and sort of pulled back. And like, I have Instagram, but I don't have it. Like it's not downloaded. And like, that's just, I'm not, not in it for that. And I think it's really easy to get into that, especially with how prevalent hunting social media is these days. It's so prevalent. Yeah, and I was in that world for a while.
That's something I was going to say. It'll be very interesting. It doesn't work so well for the business of the podcast or anything, but I got rid of my Instagram at the end of last fall season. Yeah. And this will be my first year. And I'm really excited to go through a hunting season without the comparison game.
Me too.
I mean, so far outside of hunting, I mean, everything in life with social media gives you this comparison game, as you see, way more shared, I think, than was ever meant to be shared and absorbed by you.
100%.
And that was just a side note that, like, we're producing media, so it's a little bit of the pot calling the kettle black here because we're making YouTube right now here. Right. We're making podcasts.
Totally.
But just, like, be aware and, like, it's
present.
Just be present. And then going back to what you were saying about being out there and wanting to kill a deer too bad is it's a line that you're going to toe. Totally. Because the reason you're out there is because you're obsessed with it.
Totally.
Right? You think about this every single day of the year. Yep. You think about these 9, 11 days of hunting that you get.
It's true.
And you get out there, and what you want to do is you want to be successful. And you just have to be careful to use that as a positive. It's like they talk about, public speakers and performers stuff. Like, it's not a good thing if you don't have nerves. Like, right. Or going into a big exam. Like, it's a great thing to be nervous. What you don't want to be is scared with that. Like, it's the same thing with hunting. Like, you want, like, me wanting to fill my tag and shoot a deer is the reason I'm out there, and that's what's going to push me past that where I think it's more of the letting that become the complete focus in taking over the hunt.
Yeah.
And it can be a really hard thing to distinguish just kind of talking to it, especially if you haven't kind of gone through that process yourself. And I still find myself slipping back into that.
Me too.
And this is something I've also said multiple times on the podcast. Smong being my hunting partner, he is much better at this than I am.
Right.
Like, when we are out there hunting, like Oregon 2023, day 8 we were on, just after getting soaked the night before with rain and stuff, his mentality was so much better. And that was the only reason that we actually did end up being successful and ended up filling a tag on that hunt, was because he was still there 30 minutes left in the hunt being like, hey, we're still out here. We're still having a good time. Then there could still be a deer. Yeah. And I'm like, man, we just messed up on deer. And like our hunt, we're hiking back to the tent to hike out of here.
Every minute counts, man.
And it's so much easier said than done.
Easy.
It's so much easier said than done.
So, yeah, and the same thing with that, the social media. I fell into that comparison so easily, right? Yeah. Same with you. I'm so excited this season to not have that comparison. That just goes, deeply also to my morals being a Christian as well. Like, I was comparing and then challenging God with that of like, I'm comparing that what he gave to this guy. Why didn't he give me that buck, right? Like, why didn't I shoot that deer? And exactly what you were just tailoring to, like what you just said. Like, I couldn't have said that better. You nailed that.
For me, it's a little different because it's quite literally my job.
Different ball game.
But the reality, I don't even.
However, I'm going to back you up because, again, you're not going to tell this to people.
I think you're going to say exactly what I'm going to say.
With you doing this as a full-time job and then spending time with you in the field, you are as little involved and invested in social media of anybody I've ever met for doing social media as a full-time job. Yep. And you're also very good at separating and not playing that comparison game.
You could probably tie that to being just lazy and posting on social media. Like I really don't post on Instagram as much as I probably should. Like I post probably like once every 2-3 months, and that's terrible. The only time I really ramp up my activities during hunting season, but the reason why I bring it up is because it is a very valid question in today's day and age. It's like, okay, you're doing social media as a job. How do you separate that from actually like being too fixated into it, right? And one of the ways I went about it is because like when I first started this literally over a decade ago, social media wasn't what we know social media is today.
Right.
Like we didn't have YouTubers that were doing a full-time gig.
Right.
It's like back then, if you had a YouTube channel, it's because you genuinely enjoyed putting a video out. And today I still joke about it. It's like, if you took the camera away from me today, I'd still be doing the same exact stuff. Granted, yes, there's a caveat that having this platform has allowed me to expand my horizons a little bit. It's given me opportunities to go on hunts where I wouldn't have otherwise if I didn't do the platform right.
Yeah.
But the core of it is I still do a lot of the same stuff I would still do without a camera in my hand.
I would take one step farther and would say if you took the platforms away from you, you would still be doing what you do with a camera in your hand for family.
I haven't hunted with you, but like what stands out to you, like you're a light on the top of a hilltop, is the authenticity. It's just pure authentic. Yeah. And that's what stands out.
And that's one of the things I kind of started to use this idea of like, there are some people who were born and raised in hunting, and there are some people who are born and raised by the hunting industry.
Right.
Two completely different people. And it's good. I'm not here to toot my own horn.
Yeah.
But growing up in the early 2000s and hunting before social media ever was a thing, to grow up and learn hunting in what I would call the organic way. The best way to learn hunting is to grow up with it or do it by yourself without having any outside influence.
Totally.
And then when you have like the real idea of what hunting is like, and then you see what the hunting industry is bringing to light, you start seeing a lot of holes in what's being brought up. I've always been very cognizant in like trying to stay in my lane of saying this is what hunting means to me, and I'm going to do what is true and valuable to me. Like I'm not going to pivot because this is what the hunting industry wants, whereas it's going to break every single value and every single thing I've ever learned and known about hunting.
I commend you for that.
It does not matter because, dude, like I joke about it. It's like I shoot some of the smallest deer probably posted on social media in a year. Like, I don't really care what people think about what I kill. Yep. Now, don't get me wrong. I love to go on a hunt and shoot something like that. Absolutely. Like anybody would, right?
Yeah.
But I don't go to the point where it breaks my passion for hunting, where it's like, I have to shoot that or else I'm not going to get people following me or I'm not going to get the likes.
Well,
And I think you can even be raised in hunting and kind of obviously fall into the trap of
easy
raising, which is why I was kind of talking about like, I feel like what I'm doing this year is trying to reverse that process.
Totally.
And it's really exciting. Like, I miss seeing that you killed this buck, you know?
Right.
I never knew that you killed this buck and like things like that. Like, I miss seeing the big bucks that get killed. But like the thought of going out into the high country this year where I know that I will have service and know that I'm not going to be up there on like single deer or no deer days and seeing the top, 3 200-inch deer that were killed in Wyoming today on opening day, it's like I'm already looking forward to that part.
Yeah,
totally. It's also, that's a slippery slope for new hunters too, because that's, like you're talking about, that's how they were brought up, right, by the hunting industry. And then that can be a slippery slope as well of like, they're not in it for the right reasons.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even really their fault because
No, not at all.
they're ignorant to
Totally.
the idea that there's a distinction. Like they just think that, oh, this is what everybody's doing, so this is how
Totally.
you go about it. So it's not to say like they're at fault, but
No.
I think that over time, it's like the more you mature as a hunter, hopefully you start seeing that distinction.
Of course.
Because don't get me wrong, there's temptation there, but I'm so happy to say that I have never once in my hunt, and again, I'm not here to toot my own horn, but like I've never once been on a hunt and I glassed up a legal animal and said, I'm not going to shoot him because people are going to clown me for shooting that animal. Like I'm going to shoot him because I want to shoot that animal. Right?
Exactly.
Dude, like last year, I shot both my biggest mule deer and my smallest mule deer in the same season.
Yeah.
But I didn't even really care because like to me, the outside validation of what people give me, it's not why I hunt.
Exactly.
Because trust me, if I'm out for validation, hunting is the last thing I'd be doing, man.
Exactly.
Because it's the amount of reward you get for how much time and effort you put into a hunt, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And I joke about it because I get people, who send me emails and DMs on Instagram like, hey, like I'm trying to start my own thing. Like,
Right.
What
Totally.
are your advice?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I hope you're in it for the right reason. Because if you're in this for money or sponsorships or clicks and likes, you're going to be very disappointed.
Yep.
Because you can make a lot more money doing something else. Trust me on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I mean, even with like something like this podcast, the reason we started doing this was like we wanted to hang out and talk about hunting more, and we weren't in any rush. Like, we were like, oh, we need to get this podcast out in like 2 months so that we can start getting sponsors, making money and all this stuff. It was like, oh, well, we'll do this down the road, maybe set up the studio, record for a year before we even release it. Like, it's just like when you pick to do the things that you do in hunting, I mean, not even in hunting, across the board, like, just do it for the right reason.
Yeah. And also the friendships that you can make from it. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they're brothers for life. Or the guys that I go spend time in the woods with and go suffer for 7 days. Austin's a brother for life. Like, and because we've suffered together, we've gone and done those things. And again, that's one of those fruits of that came from that is like just part of going hunting together. It's not about killing something. It's brotherhood, man. It's awesome. You have these conversations you wouldn't have doing something
and
crazy.
And that alone right there, I feel like is a very clear distinction of growing in the hunting industry and growing up hunting. Because to a lot of people in the industry, again, I'm not trying to point fingers here, but there are some people in the industry where they find a person and all they're trying to do is leverage that person. Yeah. How can I use that person for my personal gain?
Right.
But if you're raised in actual like hunting, like I'm out here because I want to build friendship, you're not trying to leverage that guy. Yeah. You're trying to build a genuine connection with that person. Yeah. Whereas, again, just a distinction that some people might not recognize right off the gate. It's like, it's pretty blatant when you spend enough time in here to be like, that person is just using that person.
It's good. It's easy to see people's hearts and their intentions. It's very clear.
Yeah, and also, I mean, within the hunt, this goes back to what we were talking about, is not going really into it with an agenda.
Exactly.
Like, you want to kill a deer, you want to fill a tag, but just go into it and be open to what happens.
Exactly. And like, with us, me and Austin, we're like, hey, we're just here for a good time, man. Like, I'm here to hang out with you in God's creation and just hang out and hunt deer because we both love that passion. That's the whole reason why I came out with you guys, because you guys are awesome and I want to get to know you guys as buddies. I don't care about anything else.
This is a great example. This man got up. He drove 6.5 hours over here, 7 hours over here, just to hang out, so that we could. It wouldn't even matter if we had the cameras rolling.
No.
And then you're going to drive 7 hours back home. And
I don't have Instagram. I don't care. It's genuinely like, and that's. Again, like size, I'm not trying to my home, but that's not what it should be for. Yeah. And if it is, I think there is a lot of reevaluation that should be had.
Yeah, I think. At the end of the day, I'm not going to say that my way is the right way. Like, hunting could mean something completely different to someone else. Right. All I'm saying is I'm sharing what hunting means to me. And because we were on the topic of social media and how, I guess, like, my job is so heavily correlated to social media, like, you can't really escape it. Like, I can't just be like, you guys just, like, delete social media and be like, like, forget about it. Like,
it's your job.
I'm tied down to it, right? But then I've always just been very cognizant of drawing that line of saying, this is my social media time, and this is when I'm just doing my own thing.
Your thing.
Because my social media, at the end of the day, is always secondary, right? Like, my social media is simply the result of what I'm doing by myself, regardless, right? So when I'm out there filming a hunt, what happens on social media is what comes out from the hunt. Like, I'm not forcing myself to go out and do these things so that I have a certain post for social media. You will notice it. And Nate and I, because he's done a lot of, like, my photography stuff. Yeah. Most, like, I would say 99% of the time, the photos are completely natural.
Right.
Like I'll be naturally like glass and hillside, and it will just pick up the camera and go take photos of me.
Candid pictures.
Very few times will Nate say like, "Hey, I need you to stand there. I need you to pose like this, and let me get some angles." It's like, we hardly ever fake our stuff.
Right.
There's a single digits of times we've gone out to do like shoots.
Yes.
Right, like a shoot.
And sometimes like there is a certain product where we're like, all right, we have to get a product photo.
Totally.
But that's like the off anomaly. Like most of the time when we're out there, if you see me post photos on the hunt, it's the raw photos that we got.
Right.
Or the obvious ones is like when I'm out there alone, obviously if I want a photo of me and the deer, I have to set up the camera.
Of course.
But that's a given, right? Like you would have to do that when you're by yourself. But the reason why I just want to bring up that distinction is because there's just so many real things about hunting that you cannot change and you can't fake. Mm-hmm. Which is why, again, just we're kind of beating the dead horse on social media here.
Sure.
I just wanted to draw that distinction here because, like you said, with what you've done to gather these bucks here, just telling your story, hearing why you do these hunts, you can't fake that stuff. You can't fake suffering 7 days on a hunt.
No.
Like you could, there are some people where you couldn't even pay them money, to go and suffer the way you did, sleep under a rock in 20 degrees, and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why with this podcast series, we weren't just randomly like hitting up guys saying, like, "Hey, show up to the studio." No, we were very conscious about like who we wanted on the podcast studio. Because again, like
it's cool.
I met you briefly at the Portland show.
We met at the show
a
long time ago. Yeah.
But then it's like even just having a short interaction with someone, or sometimes even observing what little Instagram you had at that time.
Sure.
Or in this case, like I watched some of your hunts on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like you can usually pick up a pretty good idea of what that person is like.
Yeah.
And when you have just enough hunting experience, when you watch a film of somebody, you pick up on things that somebody else might not pick up.
Totally.
Like you pick up the genuine aspects of that hunt. And you're like, man, that's something that only a person who truly enjoys hunting would do.
Right.
And so it's pretty easy to like get yourself tied in with the people who kind of share the same mindset. And again, it's not to say that we have the right mindset and that person's wrong.
Right.
It's just that at the end of the day, you're trying to gather yourself with the people who share the same values and the same mindset. That's all
Agreed.
it is.
And normally, if you can find someone that goes to sit in the backcountry with you, you got a good hunting buddy. So if you can find someone crazy enough, that's cool.
Well, with these podcasts, man, time just runs away.
I feel like I could keep talking forever.
I know.
But
I feel like we haven't even hardly talked about high country, but
I know. That's what. Yeah.
And it's just.
But all that means is we got to have you back here, and
that's right.
We got to just keep doing more podcasts.
Twist my arm. All right.
We really had to convince you to come back for a second or even a third. But no, this podcast has been really good because yes, it's high country oriented because you have obvious proof here that you've killed some nice bucks in the high country. But one of the things that we got really good feedback with our solo hunting podcast was, how do you solo hunt?
Right.
And with that podcast that Nate and I did, it was very bare bones, very basic, very general, very like beginner stuff. This one, it's kind of taking a step farther. Sure. And honestly, it's just nice to have someone tell a completely different story that people haven't heard, share a different perspective onto solo hunting. And in this case, kind of like what hunting means to you, kind of the mindset that it takes to do these hunts. Because people can hear me and Nate talk all the time, but Nate and I, we don't have the right mindset in everything we do, right? Sure. And so sometimes it's good to just hear from a different perspective. Yeah. And I think that's been the highlight of this podcast. And I mean, just talking to you, I've learned a lot of things that I didn't know before the podcast started.
So much.
And, cool. Yeah, and again,
I feel like I didn't really say much, but that's good. Cool.
That's what's cool is like talking to these guys, the things that like people do that's second nature that they don't even think about. Right. And Remy Warren talks about this quite a bit on his podcast. Like half of his podcast, he's like I would have never made a podcast on this except I mentioned something that I didn't really think was important to the way I hunt or the way I do things. And everybody's like,
whoa, yeah.
You know, not revolutionary necessarily, but it's like, oh, that's cool. That's new to me. I'm learning and can grow myself from that. So that's what's so cool. Like Samong and I can sit here every week and talk to each other. We've hunted with each other enough that we just kind of know each other inside and out and our hunting philosophies and stuff. But getting the opportunity to hear from other people and hear their stories and just like hearing the way that you tell the story about this deer, like people will understand like so much more about how you view hunting and how you approach it than just the story of you going out and killing this deer. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's so cool.
Yeah. So because we're so pivoted towards high country, backcountry, solo hunting, like if somebody came up to you and said like, hey man, like I've never done this before. Right. What are like some top 3, top 5 advice that you'd give to somebody who's never done high country, never done backcountry, never done solo hunting?
Well, I think gear is obviously a big part of what you do. Like we talked about, I think you could do it with Walmart gear. Anyone can do it, but there is certain things that I wouldn't skimp on, such as, like, say, your boots, because that makes your whole life. Your pack, because that's where you're packing a lot of the weight. And then I sacrifice some weight on some creature comforts, like the stove. I'm going to bring stove with me every time. I'm going to bring a little extra food that tastes a little bit better to me. Like, there are some things that I'm willing to sacrifice to bring with me. Big time on bringing the right layers. I didn't bring the right layers for a long time, and I suffered for a long time. And then also, there is that level of preparation, but the dedication, I mean, it's up to you if you want to go scout and then go spend a few days hunting, or if you want to spend the whole season hunting.
Yeah, I think it goes with the saying, your hunt is as hard as you want it to be.
Exactly. There are so many sayings just like that. Exactly. And success is measured on how you measure it. And yeah, that's a really good saying. Exactly. And exactly. Setting your expectations to what you want to get out of it, and making sure you're in it for the right reasons, and you won't regret going into the backcountry. I mean, you might a little bit, but it's like when you're up there, it'll change your life, and then it's super cool too. I enjoy solo, but also doing it with a buddy. It's pretty cool, and I would recommend for the first few times going with a friend. Just to be safe. Like safety is a big thing out there. Get a Garmin inReach. That's life insurance. Yep. Essentially. Like, yes, you have satellite on your iPhone, but your phone could die just like that, like it has on me multiple times. And you always have your Garmin inReach that lasts 2 weeks. Like, don't skimp on that. Don't ever skimp on that. Like, you can only pay for certain months and then turn it off and then wait until you use it again. Don't skimp on that. That is your lifeline. And then, just creature comforts. Go with friends for the first time, figure it out. And then when you feel like you are ready, then go figure it out. Have fun.
But
Be safe.
That's a touchy subject, because it's like, when do you know you're ready?
That is a good question. I guess I didn't know I was ready. I just went for it, But I also had a longing for that. Like, I was like, I want to go solo.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to go solo. I did. But go try it. Let's go try it. And you're going to mess up.
At the end of the day, if you want it, you're going to do it.
You're going to do it.
And then at the end of the day, if you don't want to do it, there's no amount of convincing you.
And then that ties me personally, like Philippians 4, how it says anything is possible through Christ Jesus. That's where my strength's from. Anything's possible. Yeah, and truly, if you set your mind towards it, you can do it. Like you truly can.
Yeah, it sounds so simple, but man, when you like actually try to put a hunt like that together, it's not as easy as it sounds.
Onyx definitely, like, number one, starting, you're going to need to look on Onyx or some kind of mapping system. I couldn't recommend Onyx enough. Like, and you can do 3D. There's so many different ways that you can do everything, and there's so many different resources out there. And that's also, like, be diligent with what you have available. There's a million videos online. There's a million apps that can teach, and there's a certain level of you get capped out at a certain point of learning stuff without it being from an actual person. Like, from on a video, you can only learn so much until someone just shows you, and that's hard because not everyone knows someone that hunts. But 9 times out of 10, if you ask someone, hey, will you teach me some basics of hunting? That makes me so excited when someone asks me that. I'm like, absolutely, I will. Are you kidding me? You want to talk to hunting about me? Okay, let's do it. Like, that's awesome. But yeah, use the resources around you, and Onyx is the way to start to figure spots out.
I agree. For sure.
Obviously, making sure you're legally hunting where you can hunt. Regulations. It's so easy. I'm gonna not say the name to protect the guilty, but I went hunting with my buddy this year. It was his first time hunting. And we were in an area where there were mule deer and whitetail around. And I said, hey, you know a difference between a mule deer and a whitetail, right? He's like, yeah, of course. I'm like, don't shoot a mule deer. This is a whitetail only unit. He's like, okay. And the one time we split up, he texted me, he's like, there's a buck, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I run towards him, and he almost shot a mule deer because he just couldn't tell. And he didn't, because I told him, don't shoot anything unless I'm with you, because he was pretty new. I'm like, don't shoot it. So he didn't. But I got there, I'm like, yeah, that's a mule deer. He's like, oh, make sure educate yourself.
Yes, for sure.
Educate yourself big time, because that's a slippery slope.
And that's one of the things you have to be really diligent about when you're solo hunting, because when you're solo, you're the only person you can rely on.
Only person to hold you accountable.
Even if you read like 99% of it and you miss out on a little sentence,
and I can guarantee you that if you know you are in the wrong for the one little thing, it can ruin the rest of the hunt.
Yep.
Just like if you leave for a hunt and something's not right at home.
Yep.
The hunt's not worth it.
Not worth it.
So it's easy to do. Know the rules. Be there.
Full circle of what we talked about. Be there for the right reasons.
Yeah. Well, Brayden, it's been a pleasure having you in the podcast studio.
No, thank you guys for having me.
We hope that this is the first of many.
I'd love it, man. That'd be awesome.
Next time, maybe we'll get Austin to come out here with you.
Yeah.
But with that said, this is going to wrap up the third week of Mule Deer March, which we've been having just a blast. I hope you guys are enjoying it too.
He's not. It's Mule Deer, man. Come on.
Everybody loves Mule Deer. Everybody knows that. That's the rule number one.
Uh-huh.
But with that said, I think we're going to jump into our last segment of the podcast, which is Fast Facts, which is simply just a segment where Nate and I, and sometimes the guests, throw out a random fact for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'll hit you.
All right, let me hear it.
Doing fast facts after this podcast almost seems like a cop out because the conversation was so good. But here's what I got for you guys.
Blush.
Washington has had regulations for the harvest and management of mule deer for 134 years, being one of the earliest records of wildlife management in Washington, even prior to the formation of the Department of Game, which was in 1932, which is like 96 years ago, 94 years ago. In addition to that, this is just one other really cool thing I thought when I found was reading in the history of Washington hunting regulations is the first archery season was only in Chelan County. It was in 1949, and archery opened October 7th and closed October 31st. So people were trying to do with a bow in 1949 what everybody now is trying to do with a rifle in that time when
Hot
bucks
dog.
are...
Is there any data on success rates?
I couldn't find anything.
Probably because there is none.
Yeah, I just thought that was.
But I would like to say that they probably had a lot more deer to go around.
Oh my gosh.
That's possible, yeah.
They had a good time.
I think the year that was one of the biggest hits was the winter of 1969 and 68 or something like that. After that, I think there was a big hit. And then obviously one of the more recent ones, 16, 17, those winters, they did a lot of damage too.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even imagine like hunting in 1947 around there, just looking across the hillside, just the amount of animals around there.
For sure.
Wow, that's a good one. How did you even find that?
I found a WDFW PDF from the 2016, and this is a little hot tip for you guys. There's lots of documentation out there by your state fish and game agencies on mule deer migrations, habitats, feeding. This was down my whole feeding corridor. And this was on their mule deer management zone augmentation of 2016. There's like a 50-page document just all about Washington mule deer, and there's little good nuggets in there. It was
Interesting.
from there.
Cool. Well, my fast fact has nothing to do with mule deer.
That's what I was waiting for.
I
Perfect.
am a squirrel connoisseur, so I'm going to teach you guys some stuff about squirrels. So everybody knows that every fall, and we deal with them every single year when you're trying to call in an elk and then a squirrel busts you because he starts barking at you.
Every time.
So in the fall, the squirrels are actively burying their food for the winter. They're caching their foods, right? Like nuts and seeds. And oftentimes the way they go about it is they bury their food. I don't know about you guys, but I have a bear skull that I buried in my mom's like 10 by 10, like literally the size of this podcast studio. And I never dug it out because I couldn't find it. That's how bad of a memory I have, right? And you have to understand, these squirrels, they're not very big, and they're caching literally hundreds and sometimes thousands of nuts and stuff underground. And they all know exactly where they are, even when there's like 3 feet of snow. They can dig to the exact spot of where they buried that. And there's particularly a couple methods. So one, they just have really good memory. The other one, which I didn't really think about, is they actually use physical landmarks to kind of like draw a triangle. So for example, there's Nate here and there's you over there and there's another tree right there. They will like use those 3 trees and be like, there's the middle of
Triangulate.
that. And then they will be like, there's a seed or a nut that I buried in there. On top of that, they have a really good sense of smell. So they can actually smell that too. And so I just didn't really realize how smart squirrels are. So the next time that a squirrel runs away from me, it's like, oh, I'm not a bad hunter. That squirrel's just really smart.
He's a smart squirrel.
That's great.
So I'm trying to find so many excuses to make me look better than I am.
I like it. I like it.
Cat's out of the bag.
Brayden Davis, thanks for joining us in the studio.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for
having
sharing
us.
your faith with us. That
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
absolutely encouraging. We had the whole social media talk. Is there ways that people follow you, kind of see your animals, kind of reach out to you?
I have Instagram. I don't have it downloaded. It's Brayden OTC, I believe. And then Austin and I, we have a few hunting films on YouTube, and it's just OTC outdoors, like over the counter outdoors.
Okay.
And there's like he drew a once in a lifetime mountain goat hunt, so I filmed that one. That was really fun. I have a solo hunt on there.
Yep.
And then my first ever mule deer hunt ever is on there too, or high country mule deer hunt is on there too.
No, your films are pretty rad. It's funny because Austin actually hit me up to go film his mountain goat hunt. You know that?
I remember that.
Yeah, he hit me up, and I was like, dude, you just caught me in a week where I wasn't free.
Man, I was at the bottom of the barrel. He called me. I'm like, I'm there, man. Let's go.
Yeah, that's
and then we
cool.
became best friends
That's
afterwards.
awesome,
So it
man.
all worked out.
It worked out full circle.
No, I love making films, and I do desire to, like, I have a passion for filming it so I can show it to my friends and family. Or like, why are you gone for a month? Well, let me show you. You know, but I hope to make another one. But
Let's just put it this way: that when you come out with a film, it's because it was your passion. It wasn't because you were forced to put out a film. You were on a schedule. Yeah.
No, and it's I love doing it, but also like trying to keep stuff contained as well. There's only so many good spots left out there in the world. So yeah. But thank you for having me. That's pretty awesome.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been awesome, guys. Hopefully another good week for you guys of Mule Deer Monday. We got 2 left, and don't sleep on these 2. We got some good people coming, good conversations to come. And
We just had some studs in the studio this month, man.
there will be more deer to see, so you will join us next Tuesday. Either way, we'll be here. Thanks for joining.